X-Wing? Great. We're saved.
I'll look around until I found someone who laughs like you.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Been a week.
It's been a week. I love this. I love this. I love coming back here. I love it. This is kind of like my retreat. My retreat back into happiness. No matter how crazy the week is, Friday night's coming. We're gonna talk about the Star Wars that we love. And I gotta tell you, dude, I'm getting so many messages from so many people that are so pumped on these streams. They're so happy just to kind of have this on a Friday night to chill and relax and enjoy. It's a beautiful thing, man.
It is. It's been a heck of a week for me. You know, I got my book launched, and I've been everywhere promoting that thing, and it is nice to kind of.
You're doing like 4 live streams a day right now, right?
It's pretty rough, yeah. But I love it. I appreciate everyone who's invited me on, and it's been quite the journey so far. It's only been a week too. It's kind of
yeah.
crazy.
Where are you at now? You're at like 30, 34?
I'm like $100 away from 38,000.
Whoa, that took a jump since the last time I checked.
Yeah.
Onward and upward, good sir.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Okay, well, look.
All
hey,
right, mods, put my book in the
congratulations,
chat.
dude.
Let's get to 38.
I was gonna say, we don't have that far to go. Maybe we can hit that tonight. This will be Jay's payment for donating his time to his Make-A-Wish Foundation Star Wars channel here over at X-Wing. I hit a little bit of a milestone today too. I'm pretty proud of myself. We hit 250,000 views for X-Wing.
Look at that.
Yeah. Pretty excited about that. So that's cool.
I love it.
But we got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm super excited for this conversation in particular because I feel like this is such a pivotal movie for Star Wars, and there's like so much different stuff that we have to talk about, not only for the movie itself, but everything else.
I want you to read the super chats while I go. I forgot to fill my water up. I'm a terrible streamer.
Rookie YouTuber, dude. We're gonna have to teach this guy how to do this stuff. I am gonna hit these super chats real quick though. Corso, so this was even before we even started for $5. My favorite episode, let's go, from Corso. Thank you, my brother. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're really pumped too. There's gonna be a lot of good conversation tonight. We also got Benjamin Martindale for a $5. You didn't say nothing. Say something, man. Say something. I want to talk about stuff. I see Project Egg Roll in the chat. What's up? Hey, if anybody hasn't already, please go stop by my boys Project Egg Roll over there. Amazing live streaming channel. They do some hilarious stuff. Very, very funny dudes. If you can, if we got any mods in the chat, I've been so stingy with my wrench. I don't even know if we have mods in the chat.
Egg Roll.
Egg Roll's up
get
in
in
the
there.
easy.
I'll get him there this weekend.
Where are we at right now? Egg Roll, let me know. Where are we at?
Probably like 100. I think he's like 100 away.
Still?
Something like that.
Yeah. I think I need to wrench some people up, dude.
I usually like if you're a member, like I usually give members get a wrench first, and as long as they don't
I'm gonna give Felicity a mod. That's
go crazy.
She's not even a member of my channel. The real milestone is that you got blocked on Twitter for the 50th time. Happy gold anniversary. That's all Jay's fault, dude. If I didn't associate with this guy, I'd have a full friends list on Twitter right now.
Probably have more people watching too.
And Ivan, the homie, love the streams. I'm glad you got the fig. I'm glad everything was good to go. I'm glad you like the wax stamp, man. That's my little personal touch there. Gotta love it. Okay, so without any further ado, man, it's 1978. George Lucas is rolling on the success and the hype of his fame from Star Wars. Decides he wants to keep it going because he's got a plan. So he sets up a meeting with Irving Kershner at Universal Studios and basically says, "You're going to do this. I don't want to do it." And Irving Kershner's like, "Are you sure I'm the right guy? I haven't really done this before." And he says, "Look, I'll do it under one condition. You got to be completely hands off, and I don't want any studio interference. You got to let me make my film." And the film that we got was Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back.
Why do you think George was like,
He needed to be a producer. Also,
Yeah.
I think he was kind of smart, and he was like, if this thing totally tanks, it wasn't
not
my
my
fault.
fault? Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Oh, God, Felicity, you didn't have to actually member up, but thank you very much for that. I see. Thanks for calling me out. So we wind up with Irving Kershner basically creating possibly the most important sequel of all time.
Yeah.
And what I would consider to be the best sequel of all time. I mean, this is definitely a time in Hollywood where sequels are franchise killers. The sequel's never good.
Yeah. It's just weird, like George would just be like, "All right, I need a break." I think he was dealing with, making sure that Lucasfilm production, like all that stuff, was all running. He was like he was going against the Hollywood norm. He wasn't part of like the union stuff.
He wasn't making any friends.
Yeah, and now Star Wars is a phenomenon. It's like, whoa, we got
Everywhere.
something here.
Yeah.
And it was the toys that actually helped fund Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
So toy sales were like, Hasbro like hit a platinum gold mine, man, with these Star Wars toys. And it's just so much involved in all this. I think George was just kind of like, I want to get this studio going. I want to get this production going. I want to get, even though Star Wars was his baby, he still had dreams of other stuff. He had other stuff he wanted to work on and put together. He's still very much a part of the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Yep.
And other things as well. So that's kind of interesting that still, because then when the prequels, we were hoping George handed it off that he had, but
that's such an interesting part of the conversation is like, Star Wars was great and everybody loved Star Wars. And then we got Empire and everybody's like, well, do we need George to handle it particularly? And then I think some of that kind of got furthered by when the prequels came out and other people were like, I don't think George needs to be doing Star Wars anymore. We'll have somebody else do it.
Well, I just think people wanted him not to direct. That's
right.
The thing. It's like
he can tell the story, but you need the guy that's got the eye to tell the story.
Yeah. I don't know if directing is his, he's definitely visionary, a writer, putting stuff together. He can see, he sees everything, but as far as like the directing stuff, probably that's why Empire and Return of the Jedi, he didn't direct Return of the Jedi either. Yeah.
Yeah, which I always thought it was George Kershner George. Yeah. And then we had that one live stream and you're like, who directed Jedi? And I'm like, George. And you're like, no, it's Mark, what's his name? Mark, I don't remember.
It's somebody we don't even know.
Yeah. Because didn't strike the bell.
Beautiful, right, but that's the beautiful thing. It's like their job was easy because George literally laid out everything for them to do.
I feel like easy's a strong word.
Well, I'm just saying it's a little different, Everything is there. You just turn the camera on and go.
Yep.
Empire Strikes Back was one of the most anticipated films ever. The lines were out the door.
Mm-hmm.
And there was actually, I was reading before the stream, actually a few days ago, there was actually people, like the news would broadcast saying, if you're in the film before, don't run out and spoil it.
Right.
You know, because
Well,
people were
there's
leaving the
some
theater
interesting
like with
stuff.
their buddies. I can't believe Lucas, you know, that's his father and all that. Yeah. While people are standing in line, wrapped around the building, waiting hours
Oh, I'm knocking teeth out if somebody does that to me,
to
dude.
get in, and you're just kind of like, there was and also I think the Simpsons made a funny meme about that. Homer Simpson was coming out of Empire Strikes Back, and he was just like, I can't believe that Darth Vader is Luke's father. You know what I mean? Something like that.
It's like,
And
shut
so,
up. Shut up.
was
Real
that
quick.
the biggest? Oh yeah, get the super chat. So then we'll start
Well,
the movie.
yeah, I want to say hi to the new members.
Yeah, yeah,
Felicity became a member. Project Egg Roll, the homie. I feel like this is the start of a long, prosperous, and fruitful
Egg Roll is awesome
relationship
people.
between all of us, man. We love you, Egg Roll. We love you. And then a $15 super chat from the Sundowners. I hope you're doing well, man. Lucas was getting ILM off the ground, and it took most of his time. The toys took off like a rocket ship before Empire. Oh, yeah. Big time. We're going to talk about that real quick, but we got to get, for the new members, we got to do the old... I don't have a Rose Tico, so, you know, we got to do what we can do over here. So, yeah, there was a couple different things that happened. I mean, Lucas was very busy. I think there was definitely an aspect where he wanted somebody else to handle it just in case it tanked. He wasn't smudged forever, and I think that was smart. I mean, you got to think about Irving Kershner was somebody he trusted as well. I mean, this was one of his professors. You know what I mean? But beyond that, he had funding that wound up getting pulled. The funding for the movie got pulled. So we were dangerously close to not having Empire. And if we didn't have Empire, we wouldn't have a Star Wars franchise.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
Big ups to Charlie.
I think this was the if Empire bombed, I think we would just win whatever. You know.
Yeah,
that was a cool thing, but had its
what would
time.
the world be without Star Wars, man? You got to think about how different everything would be if Star Wars never.
I mean, look at our backgrounds. Man. I mean, it's like
I'd be richer.
You know,
that's for sure. Yeah,
look at our backgrounds.
Don Hergenrether for $4.99 says, "True story. In the early '80s, you could not tell someone that you love them without being told, 'I know.' Ask any old fart." Which was another thing. I mean, we're gonna get into the movie here in a second. We haven't even started up yet, but that was one of those things where Irving Kershner had no problem telling George Lucas, nah, fam, that's not going to work. He kept trying I love you too. And he's like, nope.
I thought that was like Han. It was like, I mean, I keep calling him Han. Harrison Ford was like, they changed some of the dialogue and they're like, that's pretty good.
No, so George wanted it when he wrote it to be, I love you, I know. Irving Kershner shot it 9 times and wasn't happy with anyone, like any of the takes. And so he tells Harrison, just do whatever you want to do. Just do whatever. And he goes, I love you. I know. And he goes, perfect. Like, that's it. And George didn't like it. And he's like, no, this is staying in the movie. So there was a little bit of pushback there. And that was nice that somebody was able to tell him no. That kind of oversight, I think, is missing a lot of times in modern filmmaking.
He definitely didn't have that in the prequels because it was like,
nah,
we're getting a Star Wars, George. Just as long as there's lightsabers, I don't care if there's farting or diarrhea. As long as there's lightsabers, we're good to go. So, you know.
So we haven't even touched the movie yet. Let's get started. I mean, you're our Sherpa through the movie. I love the way you recount it. Do you watch them prior? Like, if you know you're doing it, that's on Friday. Like, do you go back and you watch it this week or no?
This is the only time I didn't watch, but I have, yeah.
It's Empire, though. Like, we know this thing front to back.
Do we? How did the movie start?
I think Han opened up a tauntaun. No, I'm just kidding. No, it starts out pans
the
down.
Empire.
There's the Star Destroyer coming out, and then we get the pods that shoot out over Hoth. Yeah.
The Empire is coming here. No, that's Return of the Jedi.
So we shoot out all the little probe droids. One thing I never really understood was I thought that the probe droids were all going to different planets because we see one land, but then it cuts to Luke and then another one lands. So I think they shot like 5 probe droids onto Hoth. Like, I think they were doing one at a time.
I think that's how they're supposed to do it because it's a big planet. We got a lot to cover.
That little probe droid going 2 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Take a little while to find anything.
especially in the snow. So yeah, so Luke is out there already, and he's like, it might be a meteor, but I'll go check it out. They're like, okay, no problem.
Han was over it. He's like, it's cold out. I put the sensors. Back. I'm done.
I'm done. So it doesn't take long, man, till Luke is with the Tauntauns like, hey, is okay? Smell something, boy? The Wampa, man, just takes Luke out, bro.
Yeah. Yeets him, kills his Tauntaun.
And then puts him in that unique thing. And then it's you know, you go back to the base and it's like, has Luke reported in yet? No. He's like, well, go check. My friend's out there.
I love that. You can see Han's kind of sort of melded into like the military-ish lifestyle. He's like, why are you not checking in? Why are we not having, dude, we got to count numbers. Like, this is no joke. This is no joke. You close those doors. He's going to die.
It's crazy though that we see Han, you know, he's just a scoundrel, but he helped blow up the Death Star. So obviously we've missed stuff in between A New Hope and Empire where his rank has, you know, gone up.
Yeah.
He does make mention it to Princess Leia, you know, he's like, he's telling the general, like, there's a bounty on my head, man. Like, he's, and then he makes reference that, somebody, remember that guy tried to kill me over at whatever?
Ord Mantell.
Yeah.
And
so now we have Han who's like, I got to do this, Leia. And Leia doesn't want him to go. And so now you start to see the little love tension, you know?
Some of the best dialogue in Star Wars, dude.
It's pretty cool.
I love it
because it's like it's definitely like flirting, and because Han's like, well, all right, well, see you around, sweetheart, you know, and like,
I love that he's pushing her. He's like, say it, come on. Yeah. What are you afraid I'm not going to give you a goodbye kiss?
Yeah, I'd rather kiss a Wookiee.
I can arrange that.
Yeah, he could use a good kiss. But also, which is unique, we see a Millennium Falcon that's been through like war.
Yeah,
it's in disarray. He's like, Chewie, we're trying to get out of here, man. Fix that. Like, this is a problem here. Like, what's going on here? And so they're so like the time jump was cool because you knew there was some business going on that we didn't quite see, but you knew it happened, and you know they're trying to get that fixed. And so then
that set, dude, that set of the Echo Base, everything in Echo Base was just so incredible.
Nova Vaughn says it makes me wonder what happened to the Falcon. See, that I'm gonna bring up something that Liam Neeson said recently. He's like, the reason it's better that we don't know because it's not taking the magic away. Liam Neeson made a comment about Star Wars. He's just like, there's just too many spinoffs, and it's removing the magic that we love in Star Wars. And I couldn't agree more. Even though some of the spinoffs have been good, it's still like there's a mystery magic behind these things that doesn't need to be touched, in my opinion.
It's it's the said but unspoken, right? It's the reference to the adventures that's kind of so interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And this gave Ivan is right. This gave the Millennium Falcon his own character. So now we start to care about this ship. You know,
it's the Falcon, dude.
I know, but did anybody care about the snow speeders or anything? Like when they got blown up? No, we don't care.
Yeah. The Falcon is its own character in Star Wars.
Exactly. It became a character.
I agree. GJJ for $20. My
God. Such a good dude. GJJ is an awesome supporter.
Holy cow. He's in Texas. Looks like Texas. First movie my dad took me to just for the guys. Yes, old fart here also. That's sick, man. I'm jealous. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm jealous because I wish I could have been a part of that. You know what I mean?
I only saw it when they re-released it, so I didn't see.
Yeah,
you know,
the original. I mean, all the hype, the buzz around it must have been absolutely incredible.
So now we have, you know, now like the everything shifts to Luke. Like he didn't make it back, and they had to close the doors. And then you've got like C-3PO's like the possibilities of survival is, and it's like a painful thing because Leia's like, everyone's like, he's probably gonna be dead.
Yeah. There's that really awesome scene when, the doors close and Chewie just loses it, right? He's all pissed because he knows there's an issue here, dude. Luke might not be able to survive it. And I think that was such a good way for Irving to kind of, George, I guess I would say is the way that it split to now it's not the trio. We've got two overlapping stories now that we've got to tell. And that was the big split. And it's taken care of so early.
Beautiful storytelling, man.
There was did you see the deleted scenes where it became like a Wampa attack on Echo
Yeah. The other deleted scene funny. Too was C-3PO, like when the stormtroopers came in, removed like danger Wampa area, and the stormtroopers ran in there and got killed.
Yeah. That came back in the Shadows of the Empire game on N64, man. It's
pretty funny.
You'd have to kill all the Wampas in there.
So now you're seeing the beautiful thing is, and this is what we didn't get in the sequel trilogy. You're seeing Chewbacca with emotion for his friend. You're seeing, it's like they're connected, man. These three are connected. This is the trio: Han, Luke, and Leia, Chewbacca, C-3PO, R2-D2. They're all connected somehow. Everyone's together. They feel for their friend. So when in the next morning, Han was like, I'll see you in hell. I'm going out there. My friend is out there.
I always think
your tauntaun will freeze before then. He's like,
I always think of the Family Guy one when your Don will freeze before you go out. Oh, I can't go out there.
So he goes out in the middle of the night because that's his friend. And the lessons learned here, man.
Yeah.
That is my friend. If I die, I'll see you in hell, is what he says. He's like that, but that is you don't understand. That's my friend. That's why, and it has to crack over just a little bit. That's why we saw in The Last Jedi when Chewie and all them showed up, and we were like, Luke, these are your friends. He's like, nah, I don't care. So that's why that wasn't Luke, man. And so it's like, I love that. The lessons here, it's like, no, he would do the same for me. So Han goes out when he's probably going to die. Everyone thinks he's going to die. They probably think Luke is going to die. We kind of know they're not going to die. They're the stars of the movie. So there's something like, okay, well, they got to figure it out. Then we go into the Wampa. And I really do like the extended scenes that they have added recently, which the Wampa was chomping down on the tauntaun, man. Like just like ripping the skin off and just eating it.
It makes it a lot more graphic and sketchy.
And so now you have Luke, he's upside down, and he kind of comes to, and it's like, what the heck? What am I doing here? And we finally get to see like him really like focus and try to use the force.
Yeah.
So that was
opportunity, man. Wiggle in the snow. Take that into the sequels. Wiggle in the snow. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
It was such a cool scene. They even sold that as a set. You can
frozen up on the ceiling.
Yeah,
I didn't have that one.
It's such a cool. It came with a probe droid actually, and then there was you're sitting here and the music. John Williams hits. Luke is trying to focus. This is the first time, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that we've seen the Force be able to move an object towards you. I don't think we've seen that yet.
I don't think we saw it in A New Hope.
No, we didn't. We really weren't. The only thing we kind of saw was the mind trick, and he had the blast shield on so he could kind of see it without seeing things.
Yeah.
He shot the, he felt the Force to blow up the Death Star.
To make the shot.
We didn't really see,
but there was no like Jedi powers really.
Right. Yeah. So now we're kind of like, okay, now we can move stuff. And it took him a minute. So he got the lightsaber, he cut his feet out, and
I don't know how he did that.
What?
I don't know how he did that. How did he cut his feet out?
The lightsaber, man, just melted the ice.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you still like what? I would have cut my toes off. I would have been, and then a whole big old block of ice would have fallen on top of me. I would have been dead.
The crazy thing is, that's when lightsabers had power, and it was like the Wampa came. You see the Wampa coming, and he just and then the arm fell.
Just boop. It didn't bounce off of him.
No. There's so much discussion in that one scene. Luke could have stayed and killed the Wampa and survived in the cave. Didn't have to crawl out.
I'm out of there, bro.
What?
I'm out of there.
I know. I'm just saying,
I'm
like now
out,
that you've
dude.
seen it, yeah. But you cut the creature's arm off. It's like he ain't nothing,
bro. It's a 12-foot tall white gorilla with horns on. Like I don't care if I cut an arm off. I'm out. I'm leaving, man.
Nah, man. I'm like cutting his legs off. Everything. It's like you.
Jay with the lightsaber looks like Bob Ross with the paintings.
We're going for it. So he's out. He runs out into the snow, and I mean that's the thing where it comes to survival, though. It's like I'm in the cave. At least it still might be cold, but there was a fire. Right? Didn't he have like a fire? Or he probably had the stuff around him on his utility belt, maybe. To not be in the. He's in the blizzard, and we see Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Obi-Wan Kenobi says, "Hey, go to the Dagobah system. You're gonna be all right. You're gonna go learn from Yoda, and that's it." And then we see Han. So it's just like, okay, there's a connection there in the Force, all that stuff. And his Tauntaun dies. Han picks up the lightsaber, cuts open the Tauntaun, which is now a really cool sleeping bag that you could buy.
Is there a Tauntaun gut sleeping bag?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm gonna need
that. It's
like
like $150. It's
if
so
I ever
cool.
come and visit, I'm gonna bring my Tauntaun gut sleeping bag. We have a guest room. Like, no, I'm gonna sleep on the floor. I'm good.
So then Han's got his jokes. I thought they smelled bad on the outside,
Don't forget the big paws, right? That was
He's
such
like,
a cool scene, dude.
This
When
will
he
keep
cuts
you
it
warm.
open and all the stuff comes out. I feel like for some reason I can still smell that scene, even though I've never smelt what that would smell like. It reminded me of Aliens for some reason.
It was gross.
Yeah, super gross.
So Han saved his friend, made some jokes. He's like, we got to get this tent up. I got to get this shield, whatever. And Luke is just, Dagobah. Dagobah. So fun fact about Obi-Wan Kenobi, our good friend Alan McGinnis. Wait, Guinness, is that how you say his name? Alec Guinness. The guy who hated Star Wars.
Yeah.
So according to Empire Strikes Back, fun facts, Alec Guinness filmed all his scenes at the very end of production. He showed up on set at 8:30 in the morning and finished filming all his scenes at 1 p.m. for only 4 hours of work. He got out of there and left. He did not take a salary. He only got paid 0.25% of the gross's film, which made him one of the highest paid actors of that year.
No way. Dude, he pulled a George Lucas. He knew. He's like, I just want the toy rights. All right, you can have everything else. It's crazy too. Like
Alec Guinness hated being in Star Wars, but he had a contract, and he filmed all his scenes when the movie was all finished. And they're like, all right, we're all done. We just need to film you. All right, I'm doing this one day, one take. I'm out.
He makes
4 hours, dude. Think about that. Everything in Empire Strikes Back that you see Obi-Wan was 4 hours. Like
he makes
that's all
like
they
$650,000 off of it or something ridiculous.
So 4 hours. He just was like, did it, and I'm done.
That filming was a nightmare too, because they were in, I want to say it was Norway. I think it was Norway.
It was in Norway.
Yeah,
right.
And they were at the hotel, and like they all of a sudden get the worst snowstorm they've had there in 50 years, which is perfect because
it was perfect for the movie.
Yeah, Hoth. I mean, it doesn't look as threatening if he stumbles out into a bluebird sky. You know what I mean? But there's this massive snowstorm. And this is my favorite part of Empire. I think it was in Empire of Dreams when Irving Kershner's talking about it. And he's like, we couldn't film anything. So I stuck my camera out the back door of the hotel. Luke's fucking walking out in the snow. Oh, is that Iceland?
This says Norway. This says it was filmed in Norway. And many of the troops for the Hoth scene were locals from Norway. I've got the Fax movies pulled up here.
That's cool.
So...
yeah, they had the famous jackets, and I was super jelly. I remember Star Wars Theory got one of the jackets, the set jackets.
I saw that. That was pretty cool.
It's so bad, dude.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, George Lucas financed Empire Strikes Back with his own money. Star Wars was a groundbreaking film in 1977 and changed the business model of Hollywood blockbuster. Before Star Wars, sequels and merchandise were not thought they were worth a lot, but Lucas struck a deal with 20th Century Fox where he would forego his director's fee in exchange for keeping full rights to any Star Wars sequels and merchandise, including toys.
Friggin' baller move.
Yeah. So in order to
was a
control the
big
movie,
move.
Lucas decided to finance Empire himself. The initial budget for the film was $18 million. Lucas bankrolled it. Wow. With a combination of money he made from Star Wars and taking out a bank loan.
Yeah. Dude took out a loan on it. They cut his funding, and I think I could be mistaken, but wasn't the final budget like over 100? No?
It's like 20 million.
Really? Maybe I'm thinking of what it made. It made something over 100 or something like that. But yeah, they went way over budget.
It wasn't that much. Just think about like these movies that we love. Their budget 20-30 million bucks.
Isn't that incredible?
Compared to like right now, like Ant-Man and Indiana Jones, like 300 million.
Oh my god.
Movies we don't like.
The only time anything Bob Iger said that's made sense. He's like, we're paying way too much money for these. Way too much money. Showroom sabers for $19.99. Thank you, brother. I love giving to good causes. Jay and X-Wing are both great human beings who've done so much for the Star Wars community. But more than that, they've spread a love like Christ to the less fortunate. God bless, and thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
I don't know if you
Really
watch my
appreciate
channel about Star Wars, but
it's a little different. Regardless, we love you being here. We love you being here.
So yeah. So the next morning, you have we get our first look at the ships, right? The snow speeder ships.
Yeah. So we
What
get
are they called? Like you're the ship man. What do we
the
got?
T-47.
Yeah.
T-47, which they ran with that. They're like, well, it's not meant to run like this. And then in Kenobi, they're like, well, it's not supposed to do that. So they made it into a Black Hawk helicopter the size of a matchbox. I don't want to go there. Kenobi's rough. Yeah, that was an amazing scene because we get basically the helicopter shot of going through the mountains in Norway. And I don't remember the guy's name. That's gonna.
He was kind of chubby.
Yeah, he's chubby.
This is Rogue 2. I found them. Repeat.
Yeah.
I found them.
He was Porkins 2.0.
Brian with the numbers. Yep, there it was. 30 million to make, and box office was almost 600 million. Yeah.
600? I didn't know it was that high. Damn. Nice.
That's pretty
No, I know
great.
they call out Rogue 2, but he has a name. I don't remember his name. I can't think of his name.
I don't know either.
So you see that awesome scene of them coming across and Han's outside the survival tent, and they're saved.
Good morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're saved. Luke goes back into the back to tank, and he finally comes to, and he's in his underwear, and he's like, everyone's looking at me, and he kind of like swims up to the top, and he's got some scarring on his face. Now, Mark Hamill was in a terrible accident before the filming of Empire Strikes Back, so this was a cool way to get those scars. If you ought to know that, those scars into the movie from the Wampa. So if you see the scarring, is when he first started, it tended to go away a little bit as he was filming, the swelling and everything. But he was in a bad accident before. Those scars were real on his face from an accident. Actually, you could see them a lot worse in the the holiday special.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of that. Every time I see Mark Hamill's face in the holiday special, all I can think about is like the heavy eyeliner.
Yeah,
They've got him
they
like the
caked on
mascara
a ton
and
of makeup
eyeliner.
because it was a pretty bad accident that he was in.
Yeah,
and so that's one way they were able to work it in. It's like, well, it's a Wampa, put those scars on. So then we
get the scene, the most controversial scene in the original trilogy.
You also got to see, this is the beauty of practical effects. You got to see Luke's robotic hand. Oh, no. That's later. Yeah, that's right. He didn't lose his hand yet. Oh my gosh. I went ahead of myself. Yeah, so he's out of the back to tank, and Han and Leia are kind of fighting a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Then we
then
get
Leia kisses her brother.
get the kiss.
And he's kind of like,
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder?
You can't use that word. Only we can use that word.
It's my favorite, dude. That kills me. Apologies. But yeah, Luke kisses his sister.
or his sister kisses brother.
Same thing. And then
Yeah.
he's pumped. He goes,
Yeah, I win. But it doesn't really phase Han. He's just kind of like,
I'll deal with you later.
yeah,
Was running
who's
after.
scruffy looking. You get to hear like Chewbacca laugh at the jokes, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
That was cool. It was such a unique scene of them like arguing, you know, while the Empire is on its way. Yeah, so then they get to respond. They're like, there's something out there. So Han's like, I'll go back out there again and check it out. So Chewbacca is like, "Ah!" And the pro droid starts shooting at him. Han takes a couple shots, it blows up, and they're like, so Han, what was it? He goes, it's probe droid. I didn't hit it hard, it blew up. It's a good bet Empire knows we're here.
Yeah.
Like, let's start the evacuation. And here we go, baby. Here we go. The first major fight scene on Hoth. We get to see the Imperial walkers. We get to see, you know, like the big guns that were set up on the base that did nothing. And this was really cool because they set the stage for these walkers to be like, we can't do nothing with them. Like, our guns are not working. You know,
look at the press dudes. She started it.
Yeah,
she kissed him to rouse on.
Yeah, she did. She did kiss him to rouse on.
But yeah, this is
Justin says Jay speaks Wookiee so naturally.
It's so funny. I remember reading the I think it was, you know, you remember Roger and Ebert? Big time film critics. Yeah, back in the day. And it was so funny because they were always jerks. And they loved Empire. They absolutely loved it. And they were like, you know, it's so wondrous that they were able to take this super, like, completely impractical assault vehicle that makes no sense whatsoever. Like a giant walking camel with lasers on it. And it's extremely intimidating. Like, what are we going to do to stop that? And we get the giant AT-ATs. And the T-47, I don't want to go too far too quick. I have to think about it because there's more before that, right?
Is there?
Vader. Somebody came out of hyperspace too quickly.
Oh, yeah. That's right. They were alerted to our presence.
Yeah.
He's as clumsy as he is an idiot or something like that, right?
Yeah, and Piet gets his quickly earned promotion.
Yeah, that's right.
To Admiral.
That's right. He turns around, the guy's like, Lord Vader, our troops are on the...
Yep.
Those kill scenes were awesome.
I
He's
love
like,
those.
Lord Vader, our troops are on the ground and we're getting ready to...
He's as clumsy as he is
Yeah, that's right. That's the line. He's as clumsy as he is stupid.
Yep.
Oh, man, that's great.
What's up, Moni? Glad
That's
to have
so
you here.
Great.
Yeah, and then Piet becomes Admiral, who is General Veers, who I was lucky enough to drink a bunch of beers with in Nashville last year.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
It was absolutely amazing. We went to this convention where there just weren't that many people, and we were all staying in the same hotel. So I get to my...
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I get to my first Star Wars convention I've ever been to in my life. I meet one other YouTuber who I've never met another YouTuber in life at this point. And I'm like, oh my God, what's up, man? Hey, yeah, we're going to go up to the room. Let's go get, we'll go get a beer. And the doors open to the elevator. I'm taking my bag up. The doors open and General Veers is right there. I'm like, It's not just General Veers. This guy's been in Indiana Jones. Like it's Veers. He's oh my God, where is my brain right now?
On the floor. I have a similar story, but I can't get to it till Return of the Jedi.
General Veers. Why can't I remember his freaking name right now? That's gonna kill me.
I don't know. I just know them by their screen name.
Julian Glover.
Oh yeah.
Julian Glover. Yeah.
He survived all the movies until the end.
Yeah. So anyways, so yeah, the walkers start coming in, and then we get the attack of the T-47.
Hold on, think about that for a second.
Okay.
You're a high ranking officer in the Empire, and it's like, and I can't mess up, man, because Vader's mad. Like, that's the one thing I don't want.
Dude, no pressure. The guy who just failed got wrecked right in front of you, and it's like, well, it's your job now.
And you just kind of like, well, all right.
Yeah.
You know?
Good luck.
Yes, my lord. Yes. Well, this is true because the last time we saw Vader survived the Death Star being blown up, and we didn't really get the chance to see how vast and how huge the Empire is. For many people, when the Death Star blew up, that was the end of the Empire. You know, because like we didn't know what was coming. We didn't know how big the Empire was. There was just a brief mention of the Emperor to the point where it's like you didn't really think about it, because in A New Hope, Vader looked like he was second in command, right? You know what I mean? Like he looked like he was second in command, at least over the Death Star. So he might have been like the big dog, but you know, there was order in the Empire, believe it or not. There was an order, there was ranks, there was, you know, Grand Moff was the guy in charge of the Death Star. So, and Vader kind of was like, I'm assuming, and please correct me if I'm wrong, he was like the assistant. Like he was making sure everything is being okay. His job was to find the stolen plans. Like that was Vader's job. He was
a war dog. That's all he was.
Right, but I'm just saying, like his job was to find the plans. That's why in the first film, like during the staff meeting, he's like, you trust the Force, but it hasn't had, you know, it didn't conjure up the stolen plans. So like Vader went after Leia's ship looking for the plans. So that was his job. He wasn't in charge of the Death Star. So now we see Vader where it looks like I'm running the whole show until the Emperor calls him. You know, and then we get to see the Emperor, and we're kind of like, oh. Now, if you don't remember, the Emperor was a different actor and had different set of lines, but after the prequels, they changed it to kind of adapt the prequel story.
Well, no, I mean, Ian McDermott was the Emperor in Return.
Yes, but he wasn't in Empire.
No, not after the prequels. No, he wasn't in Empire. He was in Return.
No. What I'm saying is the conversation between Darth Vader and the Emperor, when the Emperor was just on a hologram.
Yeah, they had the head, and it was that weird.
They changed it. They changed the video.
Yeah.
The regular Emperor,
lumpy face.
Jedi, he came back and filmed it, and they changed the line. The dialogue is completely different. Yeah. So they talked about Luke and his son and like stuff like that. So it was different.
So they changed to be a woman monkey hybrid. That original Emperor was super ugly.
It looked like they
just
put like
a bunch
paper
of clay
towel
on his face. Yeah,
like
that'll work.
But also, like, it's weird because you got to see, like Vader without his helmet a little bit
in the chamber.
And so there's like this mystery now. It's like, who is this? Like, what is this person? Who is this bad dude?
Yeah,
you know, like who is that?
And there's a human underneath all that black armor. We saw just a head. Just the back of the head.
It was red.
Wasn't it white?
It was like red and white. It was white.
It was white with he had the big head scar. The really big head scar. Okay, I'll be right back.
There's X-Wing. Well, like that was like one of the unique things where there was a mystery behind this villain we don't know, and we really got to see a terrible Darth Vader, who would sacrifice his own men, people that were high up in rank. That's the crazy thing to me, is that you don't get to that position without like going through the motions, you know, for whatever reason, you've earned that ranking. And you see Vader sacrificing these high ranked officers just to make sure, you know, the job gets done. That's take care, Brian. Thanks for hanging out. So it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. I don't know, man, he went peak quick. I did read that the original Emperor was voiced and played by a woman. What? I didn't know that. I have to check on that one. I don't remember too many of us talking about the Emperor during the Empire days. There was no toys. That's right. There was such a mystery about who this big bad was. And that's what led to the beautiful thing of Return of the Jedi. Because in this message, right? Jay, I sent you a message to come on my channel. I will get to it, brother. Man, resend it, please. Resend it. I'm so sorry. I have gotten a flood. I've gotten more messages than I thought. And so a lot of them are getting lost. Please forgive me, the Sundowners Club. Please resend it. Please forgive me. I just heard that Ethan Van Sciver gave me a shout out, and I would love to thank him as well. And on his channel, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that Ethan Van Sciver would do that. So we are only $50 away from 38,000. That's pretty awesome.
You have your orders, chat. Do what must be done.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
this is just a side message. The fact that Ethan Van Sciver is someone who I had kind of, you know, I looked up to him when he was doing DC comics. You know, he drew Batman and Green Lantern and some other stuff. For him to give me a shout out is like, that's like unbelievable. So it's kind of emotional, actually. It's like this is a person I would stand in line for at a comic convention to have him sign comic books that I own from him, that he did all the covers. So that's very surreal. So I definitely will have to tell him thank you. So
you're right there, love.
That's pretty cool. I just, people are messaging me. They're like, you're not gonna believe this, but Ethan Van Sciver just
really
a huge shout out for your book. Yeah, that's pretty unbelievable. So
what did I tell you?
In a good way.
What did I tell you?
That's pretty cool. Anyway.
Attack of the T-47s.
Double A. We're gonna get to that. This could be a long stream. So yeah. So now we've got the walkers, and the guy that's like piloting the walker that we see. I love his attitude. He's just like, we're gonna take him down, man. He just looked angry, you know. He was like ready. He's like, we're gonna get here. We're gonna blow up the shield generator, and everything's gonna be fine. And they couldn't stop the walkers. They had all these people out there that are like cheering, you know, the rebellion's out there like, come on, we could do it. They're shooting at these things.
I mean, they got some down, man. They got some down. You got tow cables, wedging.
That's what I'm saying. We had to get to the tow cable, which was such a unique shot, man. I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it. It's like it's like George like pulled from, you know, classic, yeah, which he did, like classic movies and stuff. It's like, how can we add this into this space adventure?
Yeah.
And the tow cable was perfect.
Well, you think David and Goliath, right? And you'd throw one of those stones, the two-headed stones with a rope, and wrap up his feet to take him down.
So it was like, let's see. We got the tow cable, and we got one of them knocked down. And when one of them blew up, it was weird because you see the rebels were like, come on, guys, let's go. We got him. Let's go. And then Luke's ship got shot, and his co-pilot looks like he died. You know what I mean? Oh, look at that.
This is one of my favorite projects ever. Such a beautiful scene. You can't even see most of it, but yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
I actually had a real walker from Hasbro, and good old mom. I think my mom probably threw away millions of dollars of Star Wars toys.
Oh my god, can you imagine if we still had the stuff? I don't know though. It's a little tough. Like a lot of the stuff that we got in the 90s that we bought they're not worth a whole lot of money.
Yeah, well, this is the 80s, so
Okay. OG Power of the Force.
yeah. This is the 80s, like the original walker. Luke goes in to take down another walker. His ship gets shot. His co-pilot we don't think is dead, or at least knocked out. Dak. His ship crashes right in front of the walker as it's walking over top of him. And Luke can't save him.
Yeah.
Can't pull him out. He gets smacked. He gets stomped on by the walker. So what does Luke do? Luke uses his little belt, goes up to the top of the walker, opens up some kind of little portal, and throws in a bunch of grenades.
Yep.
And blows that one up. So now we've got
It
two
falls
out.
like 80 feet to the ground.
Right into the snow.
Yeah.
Dak gets that's like a brutal kill scene, man.
I just think of I don't know why every time I see that scene now I think of Harry Potter. When Harry comes back and he's like, I tried to get his body. I couldn't from the Triwizard tournament. I know that's horrible, but
Luke couldn't get it done, man.
couldn't get him out.
It was so weird because like it's such an interesting scene because like the foot is moving really slow.
Yeah.
But you know, it's coming
Such good
and then
noises.
and that's it. So after that, Luke's kind of done. You know, there's nothing else he can do. He has no ship. He's on ground. He's on foot.
Yeah.
And so they end up blowing up. They end up blowing up the shields. Now they were able to get a few of the rebels out with the ion cannon that shot the Star Destroyer. So, you know, there was that one cheer.
The boob gun. Transport 1 is away.
Yeah. But then Vader, which another reason why Vader's so freaking cool is like he just didn't send in a bunch of pawns. He's like, I'm going in.
Yeah, I'm coming in.
Yeah. It's like I'm the menacing one. I'm Blackbeard. I'm whatever it is. I'm going in first. You know, so he goes in with a bunch of snow troopers, which first time we've seen
so
dope. the snow attire.
Yeah.
So they set up the cannon, and now it's the base is shaking, and it's like Han's got Leia. He's like, we can't get to the transport. I'll get her out on the Falcon. The Falcon ain't running. You know,
Imperial troops have entered the base.
Yeah,
Imperial troops have entered the base. Oh, sorry, I dropped the thing.
Yeah, it's like everybody leave and get to your transport ship. So
The ceilings are coming down. He tries to get the princess out. Can't get him there.
He walks into the Falcon and he turns on. I was like, and he like just punches it on the side.
Turns back on.
It's
That was
so
such a good touch.
That is a perfect touch because that's the meme, you know? The car ain't working, so let's kick it on the side and see if it'll turn on. You know, it's like the
What a
meme
piece of junk.
It's a meme that all of us have done, maybe, like when our car's not working. You just like you hit it and hope that it just it works.
With your gold dice.
So, you know, the troops come in and they're like, the troops are here. He's like, well, we still got a few tricks. He turns on this super rapid gun that's like mowing them down real quick. He finally gets it working. And they take off, and then Vader does the coolest thing to also make the Millennium Falcon have a personality that's up there, in my opinion, and you could disagree with the Enterprise of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Enterprise of Star Trek became such a character, even though it's just a ship. When they decided to blow that up in Star Trek 3, it was an emotional reaction to a lot of Star Trek fans because it was like, that's almost like losing a family member
in
base. Star Trek. Yeah, so when Vader's like, I want that ship, you know, it's like, now it's like, all right, now the Falcon has become something, you know, bigger than, you know, the X-Wing or everything else. It's like it becomes its own character, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But they're not out of the woods yet. You see Luke going to the side show where all the other X-Wings are. He's walking. He sees the Falcon taking off. So he's kind of like, all right, I guess they're
such
good.
A cool scene. He's like, oh, they got out.
He's like, okay, they're good. But the Falcon isn't out of it, man, because they can't, make the jump. So it's like they're a freaking mess.
The
So
blockade there, man.
they go right into like, this is such a cool scene, man. They're just like, the Falcon is like doing all kinds of stuff. And he's just trying to like fix it. He's not even at the, he's not even piloting. He's like falling over stuff. He's like, this is the hyperconductor? Is it, did I bypass the compressor?
Shut him up or shut him down.
So all this is happening. You got 3 Star Destroyers heading for it. You got TIE Fighters. I mean, it's like...
They're all crisscrossing over each other. Yeah.
Dude. Right? So the Falcon has become like... Everybody wanted that ship, man. It's like the Falcon is taking on the Empire, dude.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And so it's flipping and flying and everything. And we don't know how they're going to escape. They can't jump the light speed. They don't know. And all of a sudden, it turns into attack position. It leaves like a burned rubber, when it like goes up. It's so freaking cool. And they're like, we're going in attack position. He's like, what? Raise the shit. Like, whatever. Let's get this. It flies over the deck. And then...
Where did he go?
And then the guy's like, where'd the ship go? And then my job, this would be me. Excuse me, Commander, Lord Vader wants an update on the pursuit. He's like, prepare my shuttle. I will assume responsibility and tell Lord Vader myself. And you're kind of like, well, he's done.
Yeah, he's gonna die for sure. King's Advisors with a 10. So Marjorie Eaton was the actress that, according to Pablo, was the actual woman whose face was the OG Emperor. Rinsler's making of claims it was actually Elaine Baker, one of the makeup artist's ex-wife. I didn't know it was a girl.
I didn't know either.
Girls are so much prettier than guys. I feel like you wouldn't want to use a feminine face. I would use like Jay's face, probably.
It's almost like they didn't know what to do. It's like they kind of knew what they wanted with the Emperor, but they weren't sure.
Yeah.
So they just kind of left it as a mystery.
Yeah, I don't think, like many things, I mean, obviously we got the kiss between, Luke and Leia. I don't know if they really knew what was going to happen at any point while they were making these Star Wars movies.
So the Falcon is stuck on the back of a Star Destroyer, which is really cool. So they're just kind of waiting it out. Luke is now with R2. He's like, I gotta go to Dagobah system and meet a master there. I'm not going back with them.
We're not gonna rendezvous.
Yeah, that's right. Imagine sitting in that, like, you kind of like think it's cool, like that X-wing. You think that X-wing was comfortable for that long ride? You just kind of like snug in there.
That's one thing they never really talked about, was like the amount of time that you actually had to spend in hyperspace. I mean, it could be days at a time. So God only knows. You got called out, by the way.
He's holding you by the waterfall. What does that mean? Hey, actually, can I hold you by the waterfall? Oh yeah, man, I look so chubby in that film, man. I've lost weight since that. You got to come back and see thinner, Jay.
So yeah, he makes it. He goes off to Dagobah.
He goes to Dagobah, and we got issues, man, because like it's a swamp mess. Oh, I forgot to tweet this out.
We get the Sully landing in the Hudson for Luke. And something kind of controversial right after that. Why is it always R2 getting out of a situation that's controversial?
Again, Lucas did such a great job with these characters that gave them their own personality and their own, distinctiveness that just set them apart from other characters. It's just the fact that you could do that with a ship, with a droid. It's just, and he didn't even talk. He just beeped, but you could tell, like, you could always tell when R2-D2 was annoyed, when he was like trying to be a joke, when he laughed at other people. Like, he was kind of a smart ass,
Oh yeah.
And
R2
then
was a
to
dick.
have C3PO just be like, "Hey, stop using that language," like stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just kind of added to it. Was just really, it was really cool. It was really cool.
Like we said earlier, it's the thing that's spoken but unspoken. You know what I mean? It's like you got to keep up and use your imagination, or you're gonna fall behind. Bottom line.
I agree.
You know,
It was really cool. So he crash lands at Dagobah. He gets out, and R2D2 gets swallowed up by some sea serpent, and then gets spit out. And so that was kind of a little bit of comedy. And now Luke is like, I don't know, why would a Jedi Master be here? So now that adds to the story. It's like,
I loved it. The confusion. He's like wiping
Exactly.
the grub off his hands. He's like, "What am I doing?"
exactly. It was top tier storytelling, bro. It was like, listen, when you think like, hey, we're gonna go meet one of the baddest warriors in the universe, I'm thinking like giant castle,
Right.
like no one's gonna touch me. And yet here we have Master Yoda. Hi, Laura. Here we have Master Yoda, which we didn't know that Yoda was the man. We didn't know that
Right.
after his first appearance. So Luke is like, yeah, he's trying to clean up R2. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. He's like, something of a dream.
Munching
I
on
don't
his
know.
little meal with
Yeah,
his
so he
little
makes
light.
camp. Then we go immediately back to Han, because now we've got 2 movies going here. We got
Yeah.
2 movies, which is
Oh, I
sick.
missed that.
We got the space stuff, we got the Jedi stuff. So Han's like, they're gonna disperse and they're gonna
Yep.
float away.
They
We're
got to
gonna
drop
float
their
away with the
trash
garbage.
before they hit hyperspace.
So they float out, and then we have it, Boba Fett. Before that, though, we did see a lot of we saw Boba Fett, we saw Bosk, we saw, who else was there?
Dengar,
IG-88
Forlom, IG-88. Yeah.
for like a half a second, and they were immediately thrusted into Star Wars lore as bounty hunters.
No disintegration.
Yeah. Immediately thrust bounty hunters. We don't need that bunch.
Yeah.
Is that what they said?
Zuckuss was there. No disintegrations. Yeah, that's why they tied it back to the whole Amperu thing. Like maybe that was a disintegration. Boba Fett might have been able to do that. I don't know.
We haven't got to the asteroid cave yet. We're getting there. But yeah, the Emperor was like, we don't need their kind.
Was the asteroid field before or after?
Oh shoot. It was before. We did miss it.
Yeah, because they go into the asteroid field.
Yes, that's right. Asteroids don't concern me, Admiral.
Exactly. Yep.
Thank you for correcting us, chat. Nova Vaughn, you are the champion. Thank you. That's right. They're like, you're not actually going into an asteroid. You'd be foolish enough to follow us because we don't have hyperspace. That's right. They went into the asteroid field. We got some of one of my
I don't remember
favorite-
the odds. I can never remember the odds. Is it 36,000? 3,674. I can never remember the odds. Somebody
King's
put it in the
advisors.
chat.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll take the L on this one, chat. Yeah. We goofed that one up.
Sorry, everybody.
That's why the chat is here, because you guys are always the MVP. Always. So they go into the asteroid.
Yeah, see, I thought it was 3,600 something.
And we get some of my favorite John Williams music of all time. Da, 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 da. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's burned into my brain forever.
And then he's like, then Han just kind of gets into his mode. He's like, that'll do just fine. We'll get closer to that one. And then C3PO's like, closer? What? So yeah, they go in.
Was the freaking prop department was like, we're not going to make any more asteroids. We'll just put potatoes. And so they put potatoes in the back of the asteroid field. They're like, fuck, it's good enough.
They go into
Whatever.
that cave, and then it's kind of chill. And then we get a little jump scare with the Mitox. Yeah.
Yeah,
Leia's like,
Minox.
woo!
Those things are nightmare fuel, dude.
He's like, Minox chewing on the power cable. Let's get him off.
Wait a minute.
Chewing on the power cable. So yeah, he shoots the ground. He's like, "What the heck? What is going on here?" He's like, "Everybody get inside." Such a cool scene. Yeah, the mouth starts closing, and like, but then so many questions. Like, how is a space worm surviving out there without like, there's no air, there's no oxygen, there's no atmosphere, but that's
nobody. That was the thing. That was like one of my favorite things I think Irving Kershner ever said when he was talking about is that the thing is this was a space fantasy, not a science fiction movie. It was space fantasy. In science fiction, you have to worry about if you land on a planet, is the gravity right? Is there oxygen? Is there, all these different things you have to account for. But in a space fantasy, none of that stuff matters. It's purely just escapism.
So it was cool. It was a cool scene because like it was a hand puppet that just kind of like, it kind of leaned over, and that's when he attacked the Star Destroyer face up, and they lost him. Yeah. So, but you know what was cool? You know what was cool on that asteroid? Didn't the Star Destroyer get like, weren't they like 3 of them on a hologram talking, and then like an asteroid? You see like one of the admirals of a Star Destroyer because it hit one of their communication bridges.
I remember
you can
that.
see them disappear.
Are you not
like
about the A-wing.
No, that's in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, when he yells "dickhead."
Yeah, pretty much.
How was their air pressure inside the slug? Han and Leia had no suits. Stop overthinking it. Stop overthinking it, Ted.
You fucking nerd.
Love you, Ted. Love you.
Yeah, no, I think that's what happened. It was one of them got smashed by a rock on the Star Destroyer. So he floats away with the garbage. They lose him. Then we get to see Boba Fett and Slave One for the first time, kind of doing their thing, following the Falcon.
Retroactively knowing, because he's already seen that trick once before from a young Jedi Knight, Obi-Wan Kenobi. So cool. So cool.
So then we get back to Vader, and the guy's like, he's like, apology accepted.
Another one? Yeah, and then he's laying on the ground and he waves the guys over to just drag
he's like,
his
all
body
right,
somewhere.
just shoot him out.
Got another one.
And then it's like Lord Vader, the Emperor wants to make. He's like, get us out of the asteroid field, so I can have a clear transmission. And then, dude, for the first time, we actually see a submissive Vader walking up, kneels down.
Yeah, I don't even like that though, because here's the thing. Here's why I don't like the word submissive for that. Because when I think about like Imperials talking to each other at the highest rank, right? So Vader and the Emperor, that's it. You know what I mean? You jump to the sequel trilogy and you have Redhead guy and Snoke. Look at the difference between those two scenes. One is like you've got a super competent, super dangerous dude who kneels to an even more competent, super dangerous dude, and you have an interaction between the two. Compared to you have a super competent, dangerous guy, I would argue incompetent, who gets the shit beat out of him in front of his entire staff on the main bridge. Like, that's not how you do this, Disney. This is bad storytelling. Just outright bad storytelling. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's cool. It's true.
It's a grievance.
He kneels down. The Emperor, he does stand back up, and then they have a conversation about
what is thy bidding, my
yeah.
master. Oh, such a good line.
And James Earl Jones delivers it like there's no one in this world could do it better.
It's like buttery gravy over
no
freshly
one
made
can
mashed
do it
potatoes,
better.
dude. It's just so good.
Yeah, so he's like, well, you still want to pursue young Skywalker? He's like, yeah. All right, let's get him, bring him before me. Okay, let's get it done. Then you go back to Luke.
Was that the he could be a powerful ally speech, or was that?
Yeah, because Vader goes, if he can be turned.
Yeah, he could be. Yeah,
and then the Emperor's like, huh? Yeah.
He already knew that shit, dude. He already knew it. Excuse my French.
If he can be turned. Yeah, so like Vader never really, like the Emperor's like, you gotta kill him. Like Vader never really was like, no, I'm not gonna kill myself. He just was I'm thinking he was very submissive to using the word like bidding. What do you want from me? Kneeling before you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way of the Sith, though. I mean, that paved the way. It's the rule of two. Everything that was built around the Sith was built around the way that he interacted with the Emperor.
He will join us or die.
Yeah, exactly.
Vader wasn't killing his son, dude.
All right, we got
Anakin's not killing his son. He's telling a tale like that. But that's the, I've surrendered myself to you mentality of talk.
Here's a good halftime question. If you had to take one scene out of ESB, what would you pick?
Out of it?
That's a wild question. I would say like Luke kissing Leia, but I mean,
I
it's
probably would say
iconic
that.
though. That's like now it's that because of that. One scene out of ESB. Dude, we have so far to go. Like there's still so much.
I'd take Chewbacca fighting those pig people in the basement, like, over C-3PO's body. You don't need that.
Okay. All right, that's fair. That's fair.
So,
What?
nah.
What did he say?
No.
Yeah, we're gonna have to revisit that. All right, I'm sorry. So at this point, we're back. Are we back on Dagobah now?
Yeah, we're back on Dagobah, and that's when Luke starts whining again. I don't know, something out of a dream. It feels like what? We're being watched. Yeah. Oh wait, put your weapon. I mean you no harm.
Ugh.
We get Goofy Yoda, which he was only goofy to prove a point. He's not generally goofy like he was in.
It was an act, dude.
The Last
I don't think
Jedi.
he wanted to. If he showed up and he's like, "The person you're looking for, I am," we'd be like, "Oh, that's fucking lame."
No, he was testing.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, Yoda, you seek Yoda." Like, yeah. So then. The real Yoda is like kind of annoying. He's throwing his stuff everywhere. He's like, "How do you get so big eating this crap?" One of your scene that's your favorite?
No, he was saying my mistake.
Oh yeah.
Asked me to pick one as a favorite. And I'm like, okay, all right.
And so, Luke is just like, "I don't know what I'm doing here. You're wasting my time."
Yeah, him and R2 fight.
Yeah,
beating the crap out of R2.
Mine. Oh, R2, just let him have it. Yeah. So then Yoda's like, he ain't gonna make it. And then Obi-Wan's like, he will learn. And then as soon as Luke hears Obi-Wan's voice, he's like, oh man, what? I could do this. And
did that happen that early? Did Ben show up right there? Was it the line?
He didn't show up. You heard his voice. He's just he's too old for the training. He goes, so was I, if you remember.
Is that a mix-up of lines?
No.
So was I, if you remember.
Yeah.
Boy has no patience.
Yeah.
I thought that's
he will learn patience.
Yeah, they're already in the hut at that point, though.
No, man, they're outside.
I was outside?
Because he was aggravated. No. They were in the hut because he goes, come into my house to eat.
Yeah.
And then there's like snakes everywhere.
And then he
kind
goes,
of Dagobah stew. And then Luke gets mad and bangs his head on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then that's when Yoda's like, all right, I've had enough of this whiny brat. He's like, I'm not afraid. He's like, oh. You will be. You will be. Yeah, you will be. And then we go back to Han. He's like, oh, Cloud City. I got a friend there. Yep. And then
I'm still pissed at Justina Ireland for saying that shit about Lando. That was so irritating, dude. She's like, you got some guy who just want to get into Leia's pants. Like, way to break him down to absolutely nothing. You broke him down to nothing. You took that entire character and devalued everything that he was in that franchise and turned it into nothing. Like,
I always go on a rant when I play that about how awesome Lando was. Freaking general. So then, like, the cool thing was, this is another great storytelling plot point. He goes, "Oh, Lando." They're like, "The Lando system? No, Lando's a person.
Lando's not a system; it's a person."
Yeah. And then Chewie's like, he goes, "Oh, that was a long time ago." So now you've added this little hint of, oh, there could be a problem here. There could be a problem here. And sure enough, they land. And Lando tries to act tough with all his little...
That shit was so perfect. You're like, Lando? Awesome. Who's Lando? And then like, oh, well. And then he walks up and he's like, you sure got some nerve showing up around.
Awesome.
And he throws the fist up and you're like, oh, shit. And then he's like, how are you, old buddy? And you're like, oh, okay, we're good.
What's up, Chewie? Still running around with this loser?
Yeah. And we get the reintroduction to the fact that the Falcon hasn't always been Han's. You think it's like the guy's first car he got when he was 16, but no, there's more. There's more to the Falcon. It used to belong to Lando.
How I wanted fair and square.
Yep.
It was so freaking good, man. And so now we have that, and we've set up, Cloud City. And so then it's like, well, you certainly belong here amongst the cloud.
It's still my absolute favorite Princess Leia outfit. I know a lot of people are going to be really mad at me.
The burgundy and the tan?
Yeah, they love the Jabba sail barge, and I do too, but that's my favorite Princess Leia outfit is Cloud City.
But the acting was so good because you could already tell Leia was being a little like, I don't know this dude. Like, I don't trust him.
Yeah.
And Han was like all in. He's like, nah, man, Lando will fix it. Hey Lando, can your people fix my ship? Hey Lando, can you? And so Han was like all in. Because Leia, they had a little
too. Don't forget Lobot, creepy ass Lobot. We see him too.
They had like a conversation. She's like, I don't trust Lando, And it was kind of unique because you got to hear Lando talk like when they were having conversation about the Empire, and he was like, well, I don't follow along this, and I can get this done here, and I can
they leave me alone out here.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because now like Lando runs a city, right? He just wasn't some idiot that new Star Wars makes him out to be. He's managing a city. He's able to keep the Empire away. He's this, he's that. He's so many things, like, and he's always like 3 steps ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
So now we have, Lando. Then C-3PO's like, oh, another 3PO droid. And he cusses him out a little bit. He's like, how rude.
They're like yelling at each other.
Yeah, he just says something like "Dukda," like something in robot language, and he's like, oh.
Didn't the droid say Ichuta?
Something like that, yeah.
I think he said Ichuta. I have a hat that says Ichuta. Yeah.
And he's like, how rude. And he's like, stormtroopers here? What? Boom!
Blasted. There's so much good stuff that goes along with it. I guess that's a little bit of a forward progress, but yeah. Continuing from there.
Well, we go back to Luke, and he's like lifting some rocks.
Mm-hmm. Boy, they abused that one, didn't they?
Yeah. Sadly. He's upside down. He's like training. He's like running through the jungle. He's doing like super flips, lifting rocks. And you get one of my favorite line. Yoda was filled with wisdom. My favorite line was, "You must unlearn what you have learned." I love that. It's like the deepest thing, because we learn so much all the time that we think we got it right.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's our way or no way, right?
What was the Avatar line? You cannot fill the cup that is already full.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I love that.
It's just so deep, man. It's like, it's like, this is the right way. It's like, no, unlearn what you learn. There's so much more that you don't understand. There's so much, like, let some of that stuff go. relearn things. You know, don't get caught up in tradition. Don't get caught up in this. Don't get caught up in what you think is best. Don't get caught up. Unlearn what you have learned. Trust me. It's such a cool thing. Basically, for me, that was the whole like thing about believing, you know?
Yeah.
Because Luke was having a hard time believing, you know, he couldn't get the X-Wing out.
Couldn't believe in himself and couldn't believe in the Force. Both.
And so he's like, unlearn your disbelief, buddy. Like, unlearn it. And it was just for me, that was such a cool thing. And then we have the one of the most talked about scenes ever. Luke says, I feel something. You know, he's like, there's something weird over there. And Yoda's like just drawn in the sand. You know, he's like, you got to go over there. It's got the dark side of the Force.
He was doing the old fire poker.
And like, Luke's like, I'm taking my weapons. He's like, you don't need them. And Luke's like, I ain't listening to you.
Yeah.
He's like, what's in there? Only what you bring in.
Oh, it's so cool.
Freaking Vader shows up.
Yeah.
And they have a little duel, and he cuts his head off. And the mask blows up, and it's Luke. What the heck does that mean?
That was some of the most profound shit. Legitimately, though. Like, it was so profound. You're going to go to this place where you have to deal with your own fears. Well, what's going to be in there? Only what you bring with you. Ooh.
Emotional damage.
There was something that everybody could take away from that scene. I don't care who you are, what kind of trauma you've been through, what you've done in your life, the things you've experienced. You can always look back on that, no matter what you've done, and be like, I get that. I can relate to that, for sure.
Yeah, but what did it mean?
Dude, Eye of the Beholder, man.
What does that freaking mean?
I
did not like for years. I didn't know what that scene meant. It was like, okay, he fought himself. Is he afraid that he's gonna die? You know, it's like I didn't know Vader was his father yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's like, it's not that deep, bro.
I think it's very deep.
Well, it is, but it's.
I think it's meant to be confusing and to be talked about as to what the cave actually meant.
Yeah. That's the whole point, is that it's different.
That's
for
why I
every
says
single
deep.
person.
You're thinking like, you're just using big words because you don't know what it means. You don't know what that scene means.
No, it's very simple, but it's extremely deep. Two things can be true at once. It's not deep.
You're just like you're trying to debate and losing because you have no facts. You're just using big words because you don't know what that scene means.
What the hell are you talking about? No,
you're like,
no,
it's deep, but it's not. What does that mean, X-Wing? What does that mean?
It means that when you watch that scene, I don't think it was meant to really have like a very specific reasoning within the universe. I think that scene was put in there for the viewers to understand exactly, like, it was supposed to be a scene that, God damn it, how do you phrase this?
You don't know. You're trying to
this is why I say
trying to
simple.
act like you're a Star Wars nerd, but you're not. You don't know what the scene means. What did it mean? Just tell me what it means.
I'm looking at this on an emotional level.
Why did he fight Vader in the pit? Why was Vader there?
It was the thing he was the most afraid of.
Okay,
but
so
he was
why
also,
is his face in the?
Because the only thing holding him back was himself. If you want to look at the literal breakdown, I think that's why it is that way.
That's all I asked for you to say.
I know, but you asked me to describe what I thought it meant. So from an emotional standpoint, I think that's the most important part, is like from a storytelling perspective, it's basically just, you're trying to tell people the only thing holding you back is your personal trauma and the stuff that you're afraid of. It's so hard to explain. I don't know.
See? Exactly. It's hard to explain because Yoda brings it back. He goes, the cave. Remember the cave. Why was he supposed to remember that?
It means what you think it means, is what X-Wing is trying to say. This is how good this was. It's because it's simple, but it's impossibly hard to explain.
That's what I'm saying. That has been the scene that I've heard people talk and just one person says like this, facing the mirror moment. Other people just saying it's foreshadowing that that's what Luke's going to become if he goes down the dark path. And it's just like a constant, like so much. Well, what if he didn't bring his weapons in there? Then what? He would just be staring at Vader? Would Vader cut him with the lightsaber?
Maybe
Like,
Vader wouldn't have his weapons, you know?
But he failed in the cave.
How would he have succeeded?
Exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. Like this one scene could be talked about for hours.
Yeah.
So why was it a failure?
I don't think it was a failure. I think it was
Did
a
not Yoda
realization.
say, "Remember your failure at the cave"?
Shit.
Yeah.
Maybe he's recognizing it as a failure because he brought his weapons in. Maybe that's the only reason why.
It's deeper than that, man.
Educate me. Go off. I want to hear it.
It's a the whole scene was a mystery. The reason why he failed, I think because he went in there fighting with anger and fear, which are not traits of the Jedi. Jedi, you know, they use defense and things like that. And they don't have those kind of things. That stuff will lead you down the path of the dark side. So that was his. That's why he failed at the cave.
What the fuck?
So that's what it was. It was like you're not ready. You think you're ready, but you're not ready.
Yeah.
So like that's why you failed. It's like
that makes more sense. He would have approached the cave differently if he was ready. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. Yeah,
absolutely.
I like that. So what you're saying, Jay, is that it's deep, but it's simple.
But listen, man, it was just like it's a crazy scene that was like, if Luke's face didn't appear in the mask, it might have been a little like less confusing, but it's like, what?
Yeah. That would have been easy.
Yeah, so they just threw all that stuff in. And like even in interviews and stuff, at least from what I've seen, and people have asked them questions, it's even hard for them to answer it because it's almost like they want to leave it as, I want everyone watching this to learn something about themselves.
Well, it's been 43 years. We're still talking about it.
Exactly. And
that's what I'm trying to. I guess that's what I was trying to say is that it's complicated, but it's simple. But it's important to every single different person. It's important to each person.
But listen, the way Luke won was in Return of the Jedi when he threw his lightsaber down and was like,
"Bro, spoilers."
I know, but it's like you're gonna have to kill me because I'm not joining you. I'm not like my father. I'm a Jedi. You know, he couldn't do that in the cave. He had to have his security blankets with him. So that's why
maybe that's the failure. The fact that he killed.
That's what I said. That's why he failed.
His failure. You know,
and then he fails again. Because they're like, get the X-wing up.
That's one of my favorite things about the frickin' original trilogy, though, is that like the hero's not a winner. Consistently, the hero loses over and over and over again. The hero continues to lose over and over and over again. And I think that's what makes him so lovable. It's like, oh, dude, me too. I've been there.
Well, that's the hero's journey. It's not like this. Yeah. It's not like what we have now where it's just so manufactured. It's like there's no weak spot anymore. It's just we just win.
Ray walked out. She's like, I don't take no L's.
We solve a puzzle and we win, and like, hey, that's great.
That was my.
But no, you're absolutely right. It's seeing our hero who's supposed to save the galaxy. Remember, there's all this pressure put on him.
Yeah.
And you're like, he can't even. All he can do is lift a rock. Like, how is How's he supposed to help?
And you got to go fight the gnarliest dude in the galaxy that's been killing people left and right.
So then we go back to Han, where Lando shows up after Leia's like, "Where's C-3PO?" And Han's like, "Lando's people will find it." Oh no, Chewbacca comes in with a busted up C-3PO.
He picked him off the line,
and he's like, "What the heck?" And he's like, "What happened?" And you just hear Chewie rambling on. He goes, "Lando has people that could fix him." And that's when Leia's like, "I don't trust him, buddy." And Han's like, so then Lando shows up and he's like, "Hey, you guys gonna have dinner with me?" "Sure." He goes, "Problems with your droid?" And Han's like, No problems.
But it's fine.
Han starts to trust Leia's instinct.
I bought him that way.
You know what I mean? It's like Han. It's so cool because Han is like still trying to make an impression.
Yeah.
And he's like, Leia doesn't trust him, so he's like, "Okay, all right, Leia, I'm with you." So then he's like, no problem at all, whatever. So then they're walking, and then Leia starts to press him a little bit about the Empire, and that's when he's like, "Well, I just made a deal that will keep the Empire out of here for some time." And then you get the freaking shock scene, which was sick. The thing opens up, there's Vader, and like Chewbacca screams, and Han's like, now we see another power that Vader has. We didn't know he
Vader
had.
just deershes a blaster bolt into his hand.
Just catches him. And then he pulls the gun. Now we already knew from Luke pulling the lightsaber that he could do that. So it's just such good storytelling. So it's like, and he pulls in, and then Vader doesn't get like all aggravated. He's like, "I would be honored if you would join us."
Like, oh, you're so cool. You're so cool, man.
Boba Fett's there.
And I love how they just chilled too. I mean, blaster bolts are flying and they're just chilling.
That's what I'm saying. That's what makes Vader like his presence is just so like he never loses control.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm always in control. There's nothing you could do to you can't trigger me. You can't trigger me on Twitter. You can't trigger me. You can't troll me. There is nothing you could do to keep me from losing my cool.
The ultimate
you could
Sigma.
shoot me with a blaster and I'm still in control. It's like, pow, 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 like you said, grabs the gun. He could have he could have picked Han up and thrown him against the wall. He could have thrown Chewie.
Tossed him out the window.
That's the old windy trick. He could have choked out Chewbacca and thrown Han and then said, "All right, you guys done?"
Yeah.
No, he just, "You want to join us for dinner?" I
see that you've had an emotional reaction, but we've got a wonderful dinner in front of us.
So cool. Han being the gunslinger, that's also Han. Like, just didn't even say that, just pulled it out. You know what I mean? And just was like,
cowboy.
He's like, "I could end this if I shoot him."
Nope.
You know, it was just, dude, such a good.
And then you get the betrayal, buddy.
That scene is like top tier cinema. Yeah, Lando betrayed his best friend or his friend. Princess Leia was right. Vader was there. Vader's super powerful. What can stop him? You know, it's just everything was right there. What are they gonna do to Han? They're gonna like kill him. They're gonna do what? They're gonna do this. So then they start to torture Han for no reason. To kind of, I guess, Vader wants the Force echo out there for Luke to know that his friends are being tortured, because they asked, like, Leia was like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "They didn't even ask me any questions. They just tortured me." You know. Then we have. And then I'll shut up because like this whole section right here is some of the coolest parts of Star Wars.
Dude, Cloud City is a phenomenal.
So then you've seen Vader choke out his officers. You've seen him catch laser bolts. You've seen him catch guns. You've seen him not lose his cool. You've seen everything about Vader. And then Boba Fett comes up and like talks a little smack to him. He's like, hey, he's no good to me dead.
He's worth a lot to me.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, why would you even question Vader? You know, it's like, if Vader wants to kill him, who are you to like step in and go, "Yeah, I could use him alive."
Well, Boba Fett, I mean, the only reason Boba Fett wants him alive is because of the credits.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is it's like you're standing next to the most powerful man in the universe, and you have the nerve to kind of talk to him like that.
Yeah.
It's like Boba Fett should just be off to say, it's like, well, when you're done with him, like, let me know. I'll be over here.
I'll be here.
Yeah, it's like when you're done with him, like, I don't want to be involved, like, but I want. And then Vader, who doesn't have to do this, said you'll be compensated if something happens.
Yeah, there's some mutual. I don't know if it's mutual respect or what, but I mean, yeah, Vader doesn't have to do a thing. He could turn around and look at Boba and go.
That's what I'm saying. He could have flicked him off, like, and just he could have said the same thing he said to Lando. He goes, "You feel like you're being treated unfairly, Boba?" You know what I mean? And like he could have said that, but no, he goes, "All right, look, all right, you got us here. Okay, if something happens to him, you'll be compensated. All right, just kind of hang out." So, don't highlight her. She's gonna mess up my flow. And so, then you have Lando, who, according to Disney Star Wars, all he wanted to do was get in Leia's trousers. He also stands up to Vader, and he's like snapping at him, like, "Hey,
that wasn't part of the
deal." Like you. He's and then Vader doesn't get again. This is what makes him the baddest villain. Doesn't get triggered. Doesn't raise his voice. Doesn't do anything. He's like, "So,
I've altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further." Oh God, you're cool.
Do you think you've been treated unfairly? No.
No, we're good, man. We're good.
That is the cool, dude. Like, people don't get how cool that whole sequence is. It's like, again, like you said, we've already seen Vader just kill people from another ship.
It's not even for sport. It's just like out of, you're annoying. I don't like you.
I'm telling you, like, it's so much. He didn't have to take Lando's crap. He could have said, "Well, the Empire's going to take over, so we don't need you." Yeah, he could have told Boba Fett, "Well, you got us this far, but I'll take it from here. Like, I don't need you." But it just was so cool how, number one, Vader. You know, if you have a Twitter account, you see people get triggered over the stupidest thing over words. How Vader, being as elegant as he is, just doesn't care. Does whatever he wants still, but doesn't get triggered. Still keeps his form. And Boba Fett and Lando both taking a chance and kind of talking at Vader in a way that they probably shouldn't have. But that just shows you how cool Boba Fett is. And Lando. You know?
Yeah. Lando's willing to speak up with some language that'll get him killed in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Vader don't give a shit about Lando. Why does he care about this guy?
Or Cloud City. He could blow the whole thing up and not even care. They've already blown up planets. What's Cloud City to them? Nothing.
Yeah.
So then they take Han, and you get the scene with Chewie putting C-3PO somewhat back together and turns him off because C-3PO gets a little annoying. They bring Han in and Leia's there, and then they're like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "They didn't even ask me any questions." So then we get back to Dagobah, and Luke is upside down, and like,
I thought we already hit the rocks.
Yoda's like, "What do you see?" He's like, he sees his friends, like being tortured.
Gotta save my friends.
And then this whole he loses focus, and he's like, "Do they die?" And Yoda's like, "That's hard to see." He's like, "I gotta go to them." What does he say?
Clouded the future is, or uncertain the future is? Yeah.
And it's like, that's such a powerful moment because he's got to get out of there, and so Yoda teaches him again. Yeah, well, still he's like, "I got to get out of here," but he's like, then he sees his X-wing, like sinking into the mud,
get out of there.
And he's like, he loses focus on that, and then Yoda's like, "Well, why'd you lose your focus?" He's like, "I can't get that. Moving rocks is one thing," and Yoda's like, "No, it's not. It's the same thing.
Size matters not."
Yeah, exactly. You judge me by my size. So then Luke tries, and then Luke fails, and he whines again. You demand the impossible.
That is why you
And
fail.
Yoda just was like, move out of the way, son. Let me show you how it's done. Picks it up, and he's like, I can't believe it. And he goes, that's why you failed.
Yep. It's still I think that's my favorite line in Star Wars forever. That is why you fail.
That is his whole, for me, and correct me if I'm wrong. That's like the biggest teaching for Yoda to Luke is like, you don't believe in yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Everything is like, you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in yourself.
Because I can show you all kind of flashy tricks and do all these different kind of things, but if you don't actually believe in your power to accomplish your goals, yeah, you're never gonna win. Because if you don't believe in you, who's gonna? Nobody's gonna believe in you for you.
Agreed. So the X-wing is up, and then he has a vision of his friends. And
by the way, when they filmed that, the second they picked up the X-wing in that first one, when they picked it up and they got it to height, the X-wing wings just fell off.
Did it really?
That was the one day that George was on set with Irving Kershner, and they picked up the X-wing and the wings just fell off. And George is like, I'm gonna go get a coffee, and just left. I gotta hit the bathroom again. I'm sorry.
Chat, what was your favorite Yoda line in the film? Like, what was your favorite? Like I said, mine was unlearn what you have learned, which I still think is part of the fear and belief system in all of us, you know? So I did you guys have a favorite one? While I'm on this page about, let's see. I thought there was something here about Yoda. It wasn't. Frank Oz did Yoda, and it was a puppet. Nothing. Nothing. Maybe I'll go over these at the end. The creation of Yoda was not straightforward. The idea for Luke's mentor figure in the film, Master Yoda, came from George Lucas, of course, but Yoda went through some changes. There was originally a mentor character in the film called Buffy, which was changed to Minch, then Minch Yoda, then they finally settled on Yoda. That's wild. This is the 30 facts about Empire Strikes Back. Irving Kershner originally thought Yoda should be 9 feet tall and have a big white beard like Moses or Gandalf. But Lucas said that's a bit of a cliche. Yoda was eventually designed by a British makeup artist called Stuart Freeborn, who based Yoda's eyes on Albert Einstein to make him appear wise, and the rest of Yoda's face on his own face. Wow. Yoda had links to 2 Muppets. In the terms of voicing Yoda, the first person Lucas offered the part was Jim Henson, creator of the Muppets. Henson was too busy on the Great Muppet Caper that came out in 1981, so he recommended Frank Oz. Lucas went with his suggestion, and Frank Oz supplied the famous voice of Yoda. Mm-hmm. Yoda was controlled by Frank Oz and 3 others. So the whole Dagobah set had to be elevated so the puppeteers could sit underneath it. Mark wore an earpiece so he could hear Frank Oz doing the voice under the set, and Oz said that on many occasions Kershner would give directions directly to Yoda.
Mark could hear the game coming through every once in a while when they were filming. He'd be like on set, and he would turn his ear and it'd pick up the radio.
This is funny. Like, fun fact number 11 of Empire Strikes Back, Carrie Fisher said that while filming in London, she stayed at a house rented from Eric Idle of Monty Python. One evening, Idle had a party there with Fisher, Harrison Ford, and some of the Empire crew, and the Rolling Stones turned up. They had a drink, which Fisher called the Tucson Table Cleaner, and stayed up all night. The next day, she and Ford were shooting the sequence where the Falcon arrives at Cloud City. This is why she and Ford look so happy in those scenes. That's funny. That's pretty funny. Yeah, it says Carrie Fisher partied very hard during the making of Empire Strikes Back.
Dude, it was the 70s and 80s, man. Everybody was partying hard. She also had a complicated love triangle with Harrison Ford. That Dagobah set wound up being just an absolute bog by the end of it. And for like 6 months or whatever it was, when Mark Hamill was looking at the set list for who was going to be on, it was just Mark Hamill, Mark Hamill, Mark Hamill, Mark Hamill, Mark Hamill. It was just him on Dagobah, and then the puppet. That was it. He got bit by the snake that was in the engine. I don't know if you remember that. That was kind of funny. And I have two. One I forgot to tell you, Jay. I was so excited about that I learned today. I fixed Obi-Wan Kenobi's boiler today at work.
Oh.
I took a call and we figured, blah, 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 get it figured out. And it was Ewan McGregor's house. The boiler was in Ewan McGregor's house.
Wow.
Yeah, which was really cool. And then kind of relating to the last one, Frank Oz's niece was my babysitter when I was growing up.
Well, look at you.
We still talk on Facebook.
Facebook's a thing.
His last name's actually Osnowitz. It's not
Thanks
Oz.
for doxing him. Terrible friend you are.
I really don't think that's a dox.
Terrible friend.
So pretty cool, man. I get some little bit of Obi-Wan and a little bit of Yoda in my life.
Well, we get to this place where he had the vision of his friends in pain. And he's like, I gotta leave. And Yoda's like, no, let your friends die for what they believe in.
Always had a problem with that.
Well, Jedis don't have attachments.
That wasn't really a thing then, though. You know what I mean?
It's always been the Jedi way.
Yeah, but it wasn't really known at that time that it was like.
So Yoda went progressive and changed the rules.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it wasn't
like SJW on him, didn't he?
It wasn't common knowledge that like you have no attachments, you can do nothing else. Like give yourself to the because there was no order at that point.
Listen, he's having a hard time getting Luke to believe in himself. I don't think going to the attachment part wasn't really brought up in the text.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like don't speed up his training. These kids trained for years, man. Luke just got like a first 6 hours.
And that's I feel like that's the better explanation is, don't let their sacrifice be in vain.
Yeah, I mean, Yoda was like,
you're screwed.
Yeah, you're the last hope. You're it.
Yeah.
That's it. But they know a secret that they didn't want to tell him. So
there is another.
Not only that, they didn't tell him that Vader was his father.
Oh, yeah.
You don't think
that wasn't out yet?
That's a big meatball that they should say? Like, would you not want to know?
Well, if they cut his head off, they never have to tell him. Do you think they'd tell him after if he had defeated Vader? Do you think they would have told him after?
Are you kidding me? He would definitely find out. If he killed Vader in Empire Strikes Back, he would find out.
Who's going to tell him?
The Emperor, maybe? Somebody? He couldn't beat the Emperor on his own. He could never beat the Emperor. Luke could not beat the Emperor in Return of the Jedi. Maybe in another 15 years, maybe with some more, stuff.
Legends Luke. Yeah, Legends Luke.
But not Return of the Jedi Luke. He wasn't ready. He couldn't beat the Emperor. Couldn't beat him. I only think he beat his dad because Dad loved him.
I think he'd let him.
Yeah, I think Vader just kind of was like, once he triggered him with the sister talk, and Luke and that's for the next week. But I'm just saying, I think Vader kind of was like,
for another time.
So he loved his son, man, like he always did.
There was no getting past that. That's a good conversation for later, though.
Yeah. So Obi-Wan and Yoda trying to get Luke, don't go. Like, stay here and do your training.
Oh, yeah, Force. That's right. Force Ghost Obi-Wan. There was two. Like, nah, don't leave.
He's like, Luke, listen to Yoda. He's like, and let my friends die, huh? Yeah, and they were trying to say like, if you win in the end, then their sacrifice is, it's worth it. He's like, I can't do that. That's Such a beautiful lesson. Again, we set the tone already when Han went out at the beginning of the film, when he, probably could have cost him his life in Hoth. Luke remembers that stuff. Han came back to save Luke in the first Death Star. Luke was like, I gotta do this. He's like, you're gonna face Vader alone. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
I gotta save my friends. So he gets in his X-Wing.
That's that Skywalker blood, though. You know what I mean? No matter what, they just want to help people.
We talked about this in episode 3.
Mm-hmm. And 2.
When Anakin was like, when one of the lonely clone troopers was getting attacked, he's like, I'm gonna go help him out. And Obi-Wan had to tell him, no, they're doing their job. You got to do yours. He wanted to help a clone trooper out because that's just the kind of person that he was. Yeah, even episode 1, Mom, I'm bringing strangers in the house because we got to help people.
I'm going to free every one of us.
It's like, that's just who he was. That's who Luke was. I mean, technically, that's who Leia was. And it's...
yeah, agreed.
He gets in his X-Wing. We go back to Cloud City.
Skywalkers are hard-headed, man.
And Lando comes in and he's like, hey, Leia's gonna stay with me. They're all mad, And then Lando reveals the plot. He's like, what? I'm gonna be doing what? He's like, they're not even after you at all. They're after somebody named Skywalker. And then Han's like, what? Luke? And he punches him and he's like, well, Leia's going to stay with me. She'll be safe here. And this is what's going to happen to you. So they take him and we get the famous scene. I love you. I know. And then here's a cool, this is pretty
I'm so happy they did that though. Like, I'm happy they took the time to do 9 different takes and we wound up with I know instead of I love you too.
So listen, they parade people. You got C-3PO on the back of Chewbacca. And the troops show up, and Chewie ain't having it, man. He's like punching people and knocking people down, and then Boba Fett pulls out his gun.
Yeah.
Vader stops him.
Puts his hand down.
Vader's like, just let the
chill.
Just let him
chill.
After he killed stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Right? And so then Han's like, hey, man, there's going to be another... man, Han turns in to the rebellion commander, dude. There's going to be another time, man. You got to take care of the princess. There's going to be another time. We're going to get this, man. We're going to freaking win. We're going to get this. There's going to be another time. I need you, Chewie. Yeah. I need you. There's going to be another time. That was... dude, to me, that was like...
That's heavy dope, man. You see Han be like, selfless.
Well, it's like, we lost this round, but we'll be back. We lost. We lost, man, but there's going to be another time. They put Han in the carbonite, and then we have the voice of reason, C-3PO. Oh, they put him in carbonite. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
So no problem. So
that was scary, though, man. I mean, like, when you're first watching that, and they're like, well, we don't know if he's going to die. We got no idea. And they freeze him in carbonite, and you're like, he could be dead for all we know. He's going to be a trophy for Jabba the Hutt. We don't know.
So then, like,
that whole set was so amazing, dude, with the floors and all the fog and everything. Oh my god, dude.
Lando checks him out. He's like, yep, he's alive. And then he looks at Boba Fett. All right, he's all yours. Set this back up. We're going to be good. And Lando's already plotting.
Yep.
They ain't taking my friend. They ain't taking my friend. We're going to get out of here. So you could see him, man. He goes on the Apple Watch. Beep, 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 beep.
Hits on Lobot. I've never understood Lobot.
So then Boba Fett is leading out Han Solo and the carbonite, and Luke shows up, and he's just kind of sneaking around Cloud City. It's very quiet.
He's running the tan ninja.
What's really weird is that Luke is just kind of like looking around, and Boba Fett takes a couple shots at him.
Yeah. And
then Leia's like, Luke, it's a trap. Like, get out of here. And And then this is how cool it is. R2D2's already established character, and he gets trapped. You know, like the door shuts on him, and R2D2 can't be with Luke, and so that adds to the drama because now we're like, well, he's an important character, so
yeah,
you know. But the fact that Boba took a couple pop shots at him, like boom, boom, you know.
Well, dude, you got to imagine at that point. I mean, Jabba already knows who Han's rolling with, 100%.
Yeah.
And Jabba's got to be feeding that intel to Boba Fett.
He's definitely pretty prideful.
Not to mention, like, you see somebody poking around the corner with a DL-44, like, you're probably going to shoot at him.
But he didn't have to, though. I think he just kind of stalled him a little bit.
Yeah.
They load Lando up, and
we got a dance. We got a brand new member from Groggy Frog. I like that name. Welcome to the party, brother.
So now we have Han is loaded up on Slave 1. The other ones are being taken. And Lando does his thing. Beep, beep, beep. And his troops come out of nowhere. And the stormtroopers give up pretty easy. They just kind of like, oops. So then Chewbacca starts choking out Lando. And he's like, Han. It's like, enough time to say Han, right? And C-3PO is trying to be the voice of reason. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, he don't know. And so they don't trust Han, but they kind of have no choice to trust. I mean, Lando, they don't trust him. Yeah. They run to Slave 1. And Lando's like, he's grabbing stuff off the wall. He's like, hey, everyone, Cloud City, evacuate. It's been taken over by the Empire. Get out of here.
Out of here.
No, he's like managing the city, trying to save his best friend, trying to convince Chewie and Leia to trust him, all this stuff. And like C-3PO's like, trust him.
You know what's funny about that scene too, when you see C-3PO kind of like looking and bouncing around on the back of Chewie? They spent $100,000 to do that electronically. They built motors and servos for him to do that. And then it came to the day of shooting and it didn't work. They went to shoot that scene and his arm wouldn't move and it was just kind of going like this. And so the prop guy goes, you know, hey, give me 20 minutes. Just give me 20 minutes. I think I can fix it. I'll be right back. So the prop guy comes back. He goes, Irving, I fixed it. And he goes, okay, all right, well, let's shoot the scene. And they shoot the scene, and 3PO is going, oh, no, shaking his hand and moving his head and everything like that. Irving Kershner looks to the side, and he sees the prop guy with a 13-foot fishing pole. And he's lifting the arm and shaking it around, and he goes, how much did that cost? That cost nothing. I blew $100,000 on something that didn't work, and there's a guy from the prop department with a freaking fishing pole shaking C-3PO, and it worked.
That's hilarious. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, they go out to Slave 1 and they fail. So now there's a kind of like a fight going on, and we get back to Luke, and then it begins.
It begins. The lighting from here until the end of the movie is just like quintessential Star Wars. It's the ovals everywhere. There's just ovals of different colored lights in Star Wars. I don't know why it works. It works.
The Force is strong with you, Skywalker.
You are not a Jedi.
Yeah. Oh, man!
Oh.
And Luke just doesn't talk, dude. Luke is trying to keep it together. So they have a little lightsaber. I love the fact that Darth Vader is just like one hand in him the whole time.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit.
He's not in it. He's just like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Impressive.
And you got Luke just sweating profusely, like just trying to survive, man.
So they get that little fight, and Luke falls in. He's like, maybe you're not as strong as the Emperor predicted. And then he's like, oh, impressive. Most impressive.
I don't know that
Luke
there
gets
could
a
have
little
been a better way to run that fight.
Luke got a little bit of a cheap shot on him with like the whatever gas that was.
The carbonite. It was carbonite.
Yeah,
gas.
and so Vader felt a little sting. He's like, oh, and then Luke kind of disappeared, and then we go back and Lando has.
We almost got him in the carbonite. Remember?
That's what I'm saying. He's like,
Yeah,
that's when
he
Vader
goes
was
into the
saying, maybe you're
chamber.
not as
Yeah.
powerful as the Emperor. For maybe you're not that powerful. Maybe.
And then we get
My
the
son's
Jedi
weak.
flip out of there.
He's like, dang, man, maybe my son is not. Maybe he's a crybaby weakling. But no, he kind of like launches out, which is really cool.
That
And
was
then
so
that's
sick.
when Vader was like, man, that's impressive. Lando gets back into the Falcon, and they think like the ship is fixed. This is after some like firefight. There's a small firefight going on. R2D2 magically finds them, and some little banter between C-3PO. But then it's like, it's back to like, then it's like the Luke and Vader, which is,
Pretty
it's
much
kinda
the rest of
crazy.
the movie.
Yeah. So Vader's just kind of like throwing boxes at this point. He's like, all right, here.
He's just pulling shit off the wall. He's like,
Yeah,
3G
he's like,
tower. Let's get rid of it. Garbage disposal. We're gonna bring that one.
Luke deflected the first one, and then the rest he's getting pelted in the face.
Yeah.
He ends up breaking the window and like sucks the air out, and Luke falls through, and Vader kind of gets it.
Which was such a
stuck.
cool touch to think that, like, Cloud City's pressurized, and if a window breaks, it's like being on a Star Destroyer. It just yanks. You're not gonna die. It's not space, but I mean, the massive depressurization. It's like being on an airplane or something. Just sucks you right out of the hole.
Yeah. Luke goes through like a couple slides and everything, and they end up basically
Whoa! Slides aren't. Not yet.
What happens after that?
No slides yet.
All right, take over, because I'm missing something.
They have to. They have to go through the big antenna or whatever the hell you want to call it in the big grand hole of Cloud City.
I know that, but before that, Luke is like walking through these tunnels.
Yeah, he walks through some tunnels.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
he
right,
doesn't
I
hit
got
the
you. Yeah,
slides
yeah.
yet. Yeah, no,
All right.
that's like, to me, one of the most iconic moments in Star Wars ever is when the door opens and then the hallway lights, and you have those kind of
Yeah.
Death Star-esque
You can hear
lights
like
all the way down.
Like
Yeah.
the hum of the lights in there is so cool. So yeah, so they end up
Amazing.
on the antenna, and Vader's kind of like, all right, I don't have time for this. So he's like,
Yeah.
doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. He's going for it now. We got two-handed Vader at this point, and Luke is like, "Gah!" Like he gets in a good shot on the shoulder, and Vader's just like, "Ah, man, I've had enough." Fights him.
That's the only time that I would consider a lightsaber bouncing canon.
Off his armor.
Yeah, because he gets a hit on the armor.
And so this is the first. This could be the first time in the movie where Vader actually is like, "You are beaten. It is useless to resist." And the saber is like right in his eyes, and then Luke, what happened? You know what I mean? And then Luke's like, he keeps fighting.
I just
And
want
then-
more VO work by 3PO on the Vader moments.
Oh, it was great. You are beaten. It is useless to resist. And then he does the little arm thing, and off his arm goes, and it's like, go! It's done. No lightsaber. And what does Luke? It's so perfect because, like, where does he go? He can't go anywhere. And
Yeah.
Luke is just trying to crawl away with one arm, and he's like, your body's probably in shock a little bit, and he just doesn't look good. His face is all beaten up, and then Vader turns it into like, hey, listen.
Dude, you're totally right. He's like, hey, I'm gonna level with you, bro.
Yeah, he is. He's like, join me. He's like, Luke, you can destroy the Emperor.
We can kill him.
He's foreseen it, man. He's like, me and you, like you can do it. Like, come with me. Like, let's make this happen. Like, let's do this.
I wish
know?
I had the
And he's
clip
like-
where he's like, same. different.
Yeah,
but
he's like,
still
I'll never
same.
join you. I'll never join you ever. Obi-Wan told me you killed him, and then
Obi-Wan never told you. Yeah. No.
peak
I
cinema.
am your father.
The greatest no in Star Wars. We've had a lot of no's. Obi-Wan did it. Vader's is horrible. I hate it. Luke is my favorite.
Do you believe in the Mandela effect? A lot of people believe in the Mandela where he says, "No, Luke, I am your father."
No, he doesn't say Luke. He says no.
Yeah, see, I've always known it as no, I
I
am
am
your
your
father.
father. Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people say no, it's Luke, I am your
No,
father. I'm
no.
like, no, I'm pretty sure you never said Luke. Maybe I'm
He
part of the
doesn't say
other
Luke.
timeline.
He doesn't say
Yeah,
Luke.
I never heard
Unless
Luke.
it was like in the new cut where they added stupid stuff that they didn't need.
Could be.
But yeah, so that was Mark Hamill's greatest acting performance of all time. His eyes, he's like, he can't believe, he's in total shock. And then he's like
I'm sorry
trying
for the spoilers, Kay.
and then he's like trying to talk to Obi-Wan. He's like, why didn't you tell me? But then Vader's still trying to like, you can destroy the Emperor. We can rule the galaxy as father and son. Now, see, for me,
You going
That's
with
a-
Dad on that one?
that's a pretty good deal.
That's a great deal. Like, damn, you tell me we can get rid of the bad guy and we could just do this, just you and me? And then after that, maybe we can go like fishing on Felucia. We'll catch like some, troglodytes or something. That sounds
It's-
kind of okay.
Listen, it was perfect dialogue because he doesn't know it. I think Luke still didn't believe that was his dad.
No.
But I think if he believed that was his dad, he might have joined him.
Here's the question,
Because
though.
in Return of
in
the
that
Jedi,
in
he's
that
like-
moment, if he decided to join Vader, could he have turned them to the light, destroyed the Emperor, and it would have been the same end of the story, except
No.
Vader would have lived? You think Luke would have gone to the dark?
I think Vader or Luke would have died in the process.
Of killing the Emperor?
Yeah. I think it would have. I think
Prob-
the Emperor.
well,
I
I
think
mean-
the Emperor would have won. I think the Emperor would have won.
The Emperor would have
Because-
killed Vader immediately. He would have just electrocuted him. His
But
systems would have been
yeah,
fried.
because he's like, the Emperor, like, whole thing was just bring him before me. I got it from here. So
But they could have done
Vader-
the same thing that they did if they like, they figured it out before they went in there.
I don't know, man. If you start trusting your dad,
Yeah.
and like he's like, yeah, this is something a Jedi can't teach you. Now you start down the road a little bit
Yeah.
of the dark side, and then it's once you go down that path, it's.
I think Tans is right. Yeah, the Emperor would have.
I think the Emperor would have won too. I think he would have either killed one and kept the other, or killed them both and just started over. Luke wasn't ready for all that, man. He wasn't ready. Like, he would have brought him before the Emperor at Empire Strikes Back, Luke, which is he's
a
all
baby.
confused. Yeah, he's like, he doesn't know what's going on. And then because they would have tapped into, hey, Obi-Wan lied to you just like he lied to me. This is what happened. You know what I'm saying? He's like, if Obi-Wan couldn't trust you and tell you that I was really your dad, he lied to you because he wanted to use you. Just like he wanted to use me. This is what's really going on. This is what happened. Blah, 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 blah. I think that would have.
You know what would have been fucking nuts? Excuse my French. I'm sorry, but I don't mean to skip to the next film. But you remember when Vader is holding Luke's new lightsaber on Endor?
Yeah.
And he's talking to his dad. And then his dad says, what happened on Mustafar? He said, you believe in Obi-Wan? Let me tell you what Obi-Wan did to me.
Yeah.
And he describes what happened on Mustafar, how he cut his legs off and left him for dead by the lava on Mustafar. What that would have done to Luke's head.
Well, right now he's an emotional mess because if he doesn't, how can you believe Vader, right? So he's like, the only father figure I really know now is Obi-Wan. Is Obi-Wan telling me? Because in Return of the Jedi, he goes, is Darth Vader my father? You know what I mean? Like, he asked, I need some clarity here.
Yeah, it was
And
true
once he-
from a certain point of view.
So it's like, once he got it, he was like, okay. So, but I think at the moment, so he doesn't really believe, but that's quite a statement,
Yeah.
you know? And so now you've got this farm boy who, hey, you can destroy the Emperor. We can rule the galaxy as father and son and do it right. Like, Obi-Wan lied to you. You're more special. It's like, I'm not, this trauma.
I'm just a Tatooine boy like you, brother. We can do this.
The trauma that he must be
together.
thinking. And so what is Luke doesn't even know what to do. He just looks at him and like,
peace. He'd rather die.
Yeah. That's what I'm
die.
saying. Like, it's so emotionally messed up. It's like, you telling me the person I trust, Obi-Wan Kenobi, has lied to me this whole time? Wait a minute. You're telling me my dad killed all these people? Wait, you're telling me, like, I'm supposed to be this great thing? I'm like, I just let go. Whatever happens, happens. If I die, I die. And he gets sucked into the tube and slides down, and then he ends up...
somehow he winds up in the vacuum system for...
Yeah.
It was great, though.
And Vader's like, well, okay. That's it for now.
Yeah, what does Vader do at that point? He's just like, damn. And
almost
then
had him.
And walks away.
We almost had him. And a pretty cool scene where Luke is like, Leia, I'm here. And Leia's like, hey, we got to go back. And Lando's like, no. And they still are like,
not gonna happen.
Yeah. And they're all yelling at him. He's like, all right. And then
what does Vader do right after that, though? I mean, do we really get any? I mean, maybe this will help my brain to, if I'm not thinking of a scene or something like that. Does Vader know if he ever actually dies or lives, other than that moment when he's on the shuttle heading to Endor?
No, he is back in the Star Destroyer chasing the Falcon. Because
yeah, I'm talking about Luke, though. After he falls off that pillar,
right?
Does Vader ever really know whether he's alive or dead up until the point where he sees them or he senses him on the shuttle Tidarian?
Yes, because he's talking to him in the Falcon. He's like, son, and Luke goes, father.
Oh, that's right.
And then he's like, join me. And then he goes, Obi-Wan, why didn't you tell me? And he passes out again.
That's right.
So, yeah. So, like, Leia saves him. Lando goes onto the top with a little belt buckle and pulls him in. And they get out. And, you know, R2-D2 is the only one that knows that the hyperdrive is still not fixed, but he knows how to fix it.
That was an incredibly tense scene, by the way, when he's hanging on that antenna.
Yeah, just
scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
Of course. And then he falls like on the Falcon. I mean, that probably didn't feel with missing an arm.
It's like 30
his
feet.
hand. You know, he's just like, I see you. Ah.
Yeah.
Imagine us falling face first on like a metal thing. So then yeah, so he's kind of like, you know, Leia tends to him and he's like, don't worry, we'll get out of here. And the hyperspace doesn't work. And Lando's like, they told me they fixed it. They all look at him and they're like running around, and it's Luke. I mean, R2 goes in and kicks it on after Vader talks to Luke, and Vader just kind of watches the Falcon go off, and the officer looks scared, but Vader kind of is like, all right, my son is still alive. I got to talk to him. I planted some seeds. Let's see where we're at. You know, that's where we are.
You ever tried to catch a grown-ass man from 2 feet away?
Yeah,
you ain't catching somebody from 20 feet up. Not gonna happen.
Especially, what would Luke, maybe 170 pounds still? That's like,
yeah,
that
somewhere around there. 170, 180. Not gonna happen. I mean, he lost a hand, so we'll call it 175.
So then we see the end, and it's it seems like Lando and Chewie has. What? They hit hyperspace.
Yeah.
All right.
You said the end. I didn't want you to skip what we referenced in the beginning with the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They get to the end of the movie where he's in that other cruiser, and Lando and Chewie have looked like they've made amends, and they said, "Hey, once we find Han and that bounty hunter, we'll contact you." So there's the cliffhanger. Where's Han? What are they gonna do? Luke doesn't have a lightsaber anymore. He got his hand worked on a little bit. He's all beat up, and they're all just kind of standing there looking out into space.
We went from like 1 story to 2 story to now to 3 stories, basically. And we're stuck looking out the window of that medical frigate going, shit. What
Dude,
now?
The rebellion got slapped hard. It was Infinity Wars, man.
What do we do, man?
Well,
Luke
that's
just
why they
got
had
his
a
ass
plan.
beat.
No, the first plan was we got to get Han back. So once they catch up to that bounty hunter, they're gonna get Han back. Oh, look at Daisy.
Let's see here.
$30 holla.
I wasn't trying to interrupt you. Daisy
No,
Blossom
we're good.
Flower Child with a very, very generous $30. I love listening to you discussing good Star Wars. You know what, Daisy, we love it too. That's why we keep coming back and doing it every Friday night. And thank you for being here, and thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
And that's the end. We're all like, can the next movie come out now?
So here's the crazy thing about this, right? And I always like to... I think about the way that Star Wars functions, the way that we like to do things. When it comes to Empire Strikes Back, I feel like that really set the tone for what a sequel should be if you know that you're doing a trilogy. Or at least this is what you should do in a sequel if you want to make another one. Like I said in the very beginning of this live stream, I said, I think this is the greatest sequel of all time because it was not self-serving. Irving Kershner had no intentions of making his mark on Star Wars and having it be the end of Star Wars. He set everything up to make sure that we would get another film after.
Oh, yeah.
And it drives me nuts when I go back and I look at what some other directors have done. And again, this is the Star Wars we love, not the Star Wars we hate, but someone else that directed a sequel who basically wanted to make their term and say, I had to put an ending in it so I could make my mark on Star Wars. That shit drives me nuts. It was the best sequel, I think, in the history of movie making. That's Empire.
I don't know, man. Jaws 2 was... I agree.
What?
I agree with you. I was trying to think of a terrible sequel. Back to the Future 2 really brought out... No, I agree. Actually, I agree.
Name another sequel that did the same thing for a franchise.
I mean, you could say Endgame, but that wasn't really a sequel. That was like...
Endgame was like 6 down the line.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It
Two
is
Towers. The
it's
Two
the-
Towers. Lord of the Rings.
Still didn't do anywhere near as good of a job as Empire did.
Woo.
We're talking about a sequel, not just a movie, a sequel, and what it does for, the
It's
franchise.
true. Like the Two Towers necessarily wasn't a sequel. They were doing the right. They were doing the whole book.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a trilogy, and each
Two
one was a
Towers.
book. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
there's the Fellowship, the Two Towers, and then I mean,
That's true.
similar,
that's true.
I
Yeah,
guess,
yeah.
but no, not the same.
I think
I knew
Project
I
has
was
it,
going to see this
Free
fucking guy in
Willy
here like,
2.
hold up, no. I get it. The bottom line is that this was unproven ground. There wasn't already a source material, so it's not like Tolkien had already wrote the 3 books. This was George Lucas's ideas, and we didn't know if a sequel was going to work, and it did. This fucking guy. Love you, buddy. Good to see you. We don't see enough of you around. He'd be a really good person to have on for one of these. Great mustache. George loyalist.
Next Friday, my favorite original trilogy movie, Return of the Jedi. It's hard, like at this point, I don't really. It's almost like I don't have a favorite anymore. I just love them.
Yeah. Each one has their own reasons for being amazing. So, Episode 4 is the pillar. It's Star Wars. It's where everything started. That's why we love it the most out of any.
Yeah.
Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. We love it the most out of any Star Wars movie because it did so much for the franchise, and it's arguably the most iconic and probably one of the best Star Wars movies that's ever come out. We love Return of the Jedi because it's iconic in the fact that it's the closing of that book. It's the most important movie of the three. And then you can go back and do the same thing for the prequel trilogy. So, tough to say, man.
I don't even have. You know, we say like, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? Like now that I've done these streams, I'm just like, I just like all 6.
Yeah, they're all fucking awesome. They're all really, really, really good. They're all good.
It is, and it's talking about it in this way just makes me love them even more. I don't know, man. Like after Return of the Jedi, we're really gonna have to like talk on the phone and figure out what we're gonna do next. Because if
you want to keep doing this stuff, I mean, I'll do them, but I mean, the 6 are the 6. No, God, no. Are you kidding me? I'd love to do Rogue One.
Well, I think we could pick a character and like deep dive into Boba Fett, Luke, Lando, Han,
Anakin.
You know what I mean?
Or Revan. Look, the opportunities.
We were gonna do Plagueis.
I'd love to do. I think Plagueis is the obvious next move if we're gonna do another one. Yeah. I'm gonna let you answer this comment though.
Jan X, were you guys just a little bit disappointed that we didn't see more of a Force user Leia in Return of the Jedi after how Empire ended? Was I disappointed? No, I don't think I was disappointed, but I wouldn't have minded it whatsoever. I wouldn't have minded if she had a little extra Force in there. See, this is why I wanted to do character development after this. Leia, I like the fact that they didn't really give Leia too much Force power because it proved how much of an awesome warrior she was, on how much of a strong person she was. She in A New Hope, she went toe-to-toe with Vader. Her freaking homeworld was destroyed in front of her. Who knows how many childhood friends, family members, whoever was on that planet when it blew up in front of her. And yet she still maintained like, yeah, all right, we're coming for you. You know, like
she's a baddie, dude.
Yes. In a freaking bikini. She killed the biggest crime boss on Tatooine.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, no.
That's next week, Jay. No spoilers.
I'm just saying, like, we're just talking about Leia. If they had given her, you know, like more, and it echoes Padme. Padme really didn't have any Force powers, but she was just like, she was like, she was such a strong female, man. Like, it just was, there was no denying how awesome she was. Like, she had no fear. She had not. Leia was the same qualities, man. No fear. Leia told people. She told off her rescuers, "Get this walking carpet out of my way. Go to the garbage chute."
Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
I mean, she just didn't play. You know, and who knows? Like I said, who knows how many people died? And she was right there. You know, she was royalty to some. She was a general to another, and it just was. She was always right there in the middle of like. Front line, man. She always was there, and I loved it. You know, she didn't sit around Jabba's palace, and that's next week, waiting for her to be rescued.
Yeah,
like she never did.
That's why I always think 7, 8, 9 should have been right after.
Yeah.
Or,
And
you
then,
know,
like,
wait 5
to
years,
have
10 years.
So if Leia's story continued after Return of the Jedi and she became, you know, Luke's like, hey, I'm going to train you in some stuff. And I saw her train and all that stuff. I would not be, and this could upset people. I probably wouldn't be upset if she became more powerful than Luke.
That's what George wanted.
Because she never had the fear that Luke had. Never.
She always believed in herself. Yeah. So you put
Never
that with
had that
Skywalker blood.
fear.
Just saying. That was the one thing I will give credence to, and God bless whoever made that scene, was the scene where Luke and Leia were fighting with their lightsabers, with their shields on in the sequel trilogy. Good stuff. I wanted more of that stuff. We needed like a couple movies of that kind of stuff.
It fell flat, man, because where we were, Star Wars, in my opinion.
I know, but I'm the guy who's like, if you got a bowl of shitty chow mein and you find that piece of steak in it, you're like, oh,
I would have thrown the meal out by now.
I'll eat the piece of steak and then I'll throw the rest of the way. That's basically what I did.
I didn't like that scene in the sequels simply because we've already had women are better than men, this whole messy thing that they did with Rey. And so it just seemed like they have been crapping on Luke forever, and it just, for me, it just added more crap on Luke.
I get that. It was, I mean, look, that's a product of the environment at that point.
Yes. Now, if, again, like I said, if we had the movies right after, Leia's older, she's training, she's like, hey, like she had her own issues. Listen, the woman just found out that Darth Vader was her dad. Return of the Jedi. How is she going to deal with that? Like, how does she deal with that emotionally? Like, that's something they didn't really tap into. Again, that's the next movie, but it's like, that's something they didn't tap into. It's like, you know, it's imagine that. Hey, guess what? You're my sister and your dad's the guy we've been fighting the whole time.
Yeah, the major dickhead of the entire galaxy.
That's all I'm saying.
They easily could have put that in the sequels. Just Leia whipping the shit out of Rey and be like, you don't know what you're doing. That would have been a nice touch. Anyway, we don't have to talk about the sequels. Maybe one day we'll do the Star Wars that we don't love, and we'll do a 3-part series.
Show like how we can fix it. What if we were in charge of the sequel trilogy? This is what they gave us.
Do you remember my intro from a long time ago?
Yeah.
Where is it? I don't see it. I might have deleted it.
The Force Awakens. Boy, that would be... I don't know if I can handle that.
We can handle it. We just have to sit down and probably come up with a little bit of a game plan.
What we'll have to do is next week, chat, we're going to ask you what you want us to do next. Do you want us to do an hour talking about a specific character? Would you like us to go over Plagueis? Would you like us to go over this? Let's just do a poll, man. The chat is always the MVP, and the only reason why we're here is because of the amazing chat. So if they want us to hear this, they want us to hear that. Or do you want us to rewrite the sequel trilogy? Let us know. If we go through characters, man, we got to add Cara Dune. That's all I ask.
I would love to do a 1-hour special on Cara Dune. Cara Cynthia Dune. True Princess of Alderaan. Drop Trooper, absolute badass. I would love to do that. And I have a giveaway for it. Still mad about that shit. All right, everybody.
And I want to say thank you before you close off. Whoever just bought a book. We just cracked 38K. Thank you so much. I can't believe...
Are you going to let me do my job here?
I'm sorry.
Are you going to let me do my job? Every time I bring this guy on, this is what he does. Every single time, you know. You know what, Jay? I'm going to let this one slide if you do it again. Please, anybody in the chat, if you do, because I don't have the link right in front of me, please drop the link in the chat. If you don't know, Jay Drunk3PO, my good friend, my big brother, I guess you would say in this, the Make-A-Wish angel who's decided to adopt my channel for some reason, wrote an amazing graphic novel, 235 pages?
About 220.
220 pages for the low price of $35. So when you think about graphic novels, how much those things cost, trust me, I buy some stuff from Star Wars. 220 pages for $35 is a ridiculously good price. And I would say at that point, it's worth buying it just to read it and figure out if you like it. Not to mention, you're going to be supporting some extremely important initiatives that are headed up by your boy there in the Rebellion hat. Don't believe the internet. He might be a piece of shit, but he's not as big of a piece of shit as Twitter would like to let you know. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, here's what I'll tell you. I don't see any other people on Twitter complaining that are flying to foreign countries and building homes for people. So if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody, have a wonderful night. Look for the link. If you don't see it here in the chat right now, please post a comment. It will be pinned in the comment section for the video. Go buy a book. Buy 2, buy 3. If you don't want to buy a book for yourself, you can buy a book for somebody else.
There's a donation tab, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't want to buy a book for yourself or somebody else, you can just buy 10 to give to other human beings. It's something that we've forgotten how to do as a human being, is that we can be giving. And so if you are more fortunate than others are, please don't forget to be a good human being. I love you all. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much for being here, Jay, and donating your time to this tiny YouTube channel. I really appreciate it.
I love it.
And everybody else, we will see you guys next Friday for the final of the 6-episode series, The Star Wars We Love, Return of the Jedi. I love you guys. Have a good night. I don't want to go. I love it so much. Have a good night. Bye.